Oh.
Alright, we ready?
I'm good. The
Oh,
only person
actually.
we haven't heard from yet is out for a second there. What are we? Oh yeah.
Sounds like
No, I'm good,
Haku was
I'm here.
Alright, neat. Okay, I think we're good. Luna, if you're there, how's the volume on everyone? Come on, you sent me eyes. I know you're here.
It's gonna be that guy.
One of us has to be.
Well, if something's wrong, she'll tell me later. She's usually good at that.
Hang on.
It's good. Okay, cool. Just in case. Ah, you're eating. Nice. Food is good. Alright, here we go. No. Oops, skip all of this. Blah 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 blah.
So you're still showing the starting screen on your stream.
Thank you. Hey, look, we unlocked them. Okay, I guess I get a good ending on
Hey,
two
look,
people.
we unlocked me and me.
But we're not gonna do them yet. Alright.
That's fine. We're gonna stick with me because the next 3 runs are me. Why?
Okay.
Because
skip
you
all of
volunteered
this.
for every role.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You were forcefully volunteered.
That's called voluntold, you motherfucker.
Told? That's actually.
It's called volunteering,
That was
with
pretty good.
disadvantages.
Wait. Now hold on.
Alright, I don't think it matters which way
It's
for Rob.
volun extortion.
Ooh, my brother just got to Denver.
That's called voluntelling, and that's just mean.
Left or right, someone pick. Doesn't matter. I don't
Left.
think.
Right.
Left. Left was set
Roll
first.
up.
We're going the left. No questions. Speed run.
You know the curse and all that stuff.
Hey, look, it's me. Also me.
Pretty sure this is what we say. Speed run.
This is how I feel. I believe my
Don't
exact
matter.
word
the
is
shit
So
out
we're
of
just
him.
gonna.
No.
Oh, well, might as well. Apparently, we've never picked this one.
Yeah, because we always threw the first one every time.
If you want, you can
Yeah.
have them. Go for it, Abby.
I'll pass. Thanks.
No,
Oh,
that-
he's
you're
awake.
supposed to- No, you're supposed to say it in
Whoa.
character, Abby.
That's not pretty in character to me.
She just is my personality. It's okay.
No. Alright, thanks, guys.
Alright.
Ba-bam.
Ooh, see, this is how you get one of the other guys. Alright, we want Rod. Boop.
I'm just not gonna say anything.
So,
Ooh, sibling love.
They're step siblings though, so does it really count?
it's Fire Emblem Fates all over again.
To
Alright.
answer your question, there are people down south that will agree with you.
Anyways, Rod came to the merchant today to discuss
That
something
was-
with Parfait. This is just the
Oh,
third
there.
time he has visited the tavern since I have been here. I wonder what he discusses with Parfait. Rod's eyebrows furrow as soon as he sees me enter the room. Oh, it seems like the princess has something she'd like to speak about with you about, Prince Rod. She probably knows why I'm here. Thank you, Prince Rod, for telling me about this. I shall leave you with the princess now. Rod's expression turns grim. He clearly disapproves of me just being in the same room as him. As soon as Parfait leaves, he shoots a glare in my direction.
What do you want?
All I've done is enter the room and he's already angry. I'm still not used to being treated like this by him. I'm here to ask you about goodness.
You're asking the wrong person, Lucette.
Did I make the right choice in choosing to come to him?
No.
I do not intend to help you break your curse, no matter what Lady Parfait says.
Ouch. Pardon?
Emmeline and my mother have tried to be kind to you many times, but you only ever respond with disrespect and cruelty.
Cruelty? You think I have been cruel to them?
How else would you describe your behavior?
Why am I suddenly the one at fault? They're coming to the palace to make my life miserable. I'm the victim here, not them.
The others may think you're capable of goodness, but I severely doubt that. I do not wish to work with you, so do not come to me for help. Excuse me, I have to go be not dead.
He turns around and begins to walk away, leaving me to stand alone in the room, even angrier than I was before. How dare he treat me like this? I grab his arm and pull him around so that he's facing me. I refuse to let him belittle me like this, especially when I'm making a conscious effort to change. What if I can help you break your curse? Will you help me then? Rod fixes me with an icy stare as he pulls away.
I do not intend to break my curse.
What? Rod shoots me one last glare before he leaves the margin, leaving me to stand there, confused. If he doesn't intend to break his curse, then why is he even here? I stare in horror at the floor. Broom time! Speedrun!
Aww.
My broom.
Alright.
Done for you.
Rod! I glance over at Rod as he enters the tavern.
E.
That was almost perfect timing. He told me that he doesn't intend to break his curse, yet here he is again. Rod must sense my eyes on him, because the minute he walks in, he turns to look at me. His expression is as cold and unmoving as always. He pointedly leaves the tavern area and enters the reception. I follow after him.
I told you to find someone else.
What can I do to make you stop hating me?
What?
You said that whatever I had done to you or your family was bad. What if I reverse that? I might get a good deed.
You truly don't understand how goodness works, do you?
I would not be asking you if I did. Rod closes his eyes and rubs the back of his neck. He looks thoughtful, but also irritated. I intend to break my curse as soon as possible, and I will do whatever it takes. And it seems to me that the easiest way to achieve a good deed is to fix the supposedly bad things I've already done. So are you going to help me or not?
Tell Lady Parfait I'll see her another time.
He leaves the room without answering my question. I ball my hands in the fists. And he calls me the cruel one? Skip! Alright, which one is he? He is that one.
Do we pick me? Me or me?
Joke's on you, we pick Haku again.
I'd be cool with that.
Say,
I will ask Rod if he will pair up with me. I know we don't have a good relationship. Rod has spared no effort in telling me how cruel I have been to his family, but I feel like rectifying whatever mistakes I've made with them might be an easy way to get the 3 good deeds.
Not inaccurate.
Oh, this is going to be very interesting.
But Lucette, didn't he tell you he didn't want to break his curse? Yes, but that may not be the whole truth. He's still so reluctant to break his curse, despite all the advice I have offered him. Perhaps you will be able to encourage him where I could not. I do not care if he does not want to break his curse. I only need him to help me redeem the supposedly bad things I have done to his family. I believe that will be the easiest way to break my curse. But the problem is that I rarely see him here. He's usually at the palace. In order for this arrangement to work, I'll need to be at the palace.
I, for one, think it's a terrible idea. What if...
Laura's voice trails off. She averts her gaze to the floor, her expression a mixture of anxiety and solemn consideration. What if what? Is there something I should know? Both the witch and the fairy just stare at me silently. After a few moments, Parfait speaks. You would be far away from us, Princess. We would not be able to assist you. Witches could be lying in wait for you. Knowing that you're the true crown princess of Angel, they may seek to use you for their own purposes. What sort of purposes? Why would the witches be after me in the first place? Many of them have been corrupted by the Tenenbaum. Darkness has invaded their hearts, making them bitter. Many of them are simply want to see the fairy tale curses continue on undisturbed. This is all just speculation, but it's better to be safe rather than sorry. What would you have me do? Delora?
I have an idea. I think I can get her into the palace and make sure there's someone there to look out for her.
How?
Just trust me. Tomorrow the Ice Princess returns to her palace.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You should have stuck with the flow.
Oh, she's a maid!
Oh my god.
This cannot be happening.
It's like I can see the future.
Don't dilly-dally. The princess will soon be awake and expecting her new maid.
I closed my eyes and suppressed the urge to groan. How is it that Delora was able to turn me into Emmeline's personal maid? She thought this would be funny, did she? Well, I'll make her pay for this.
I expect you not to be late again. We have very strict rules on how the palace staff should behave.
I am not exactly sure how Delora managed this. She told me she was going to cast a spell on me and that would be over as soon as I opened my eyes. I closed my eyes and sure enough, when I opened them, I found myself here in a maid uniform. What did she do? The maid continues to babble at me. How annoying. I pretend to listen to her as she leads me through the palace hallways. Emmeline and Rod's chambers are located here. Oh! I come to a halt when Emmeline suddenly appears from around the corner.
Your Highness?
The maid ducks into a neat curtsy. Emmeline's eyes meet mine and I tense as I wait for any signs of recognition from her. But she only gives me a curious look as if wondering who I am. She clearly does not recognize me. The maid suddenly reaches back and pulls at my shoulder, forcing me into a bow.
You are in front of the crown princess of Angeli. Show some respect, girl. My apologies, Your Highness. She is new and clearly needs to be taught some manners.
Excuse me? Oh, please, there's no need for that. Why is she trying to achieve by pretending to be kind to a palace maid? Who is she trying to fool?
Your Highness, this is your new personal maid.
Emmeline glances at the maid, looking confused. Why do I need a personal maid?
It is by the king's orders, princess.
Emmeline turns to look at me again. What is your name?
She's talking to you, girl.
I scowl at the maid before facing Emmeline. Can't believe I've fallen so low that I'm now being ordered around by a maid. Lucette. Nice to meet you, Lucette. I hope we can get along. When I do not respond, Emmeline's face falls. I was just heading to breakfast with my family.
Of course. Lucette will escort you to the dining hall.
I raise my eyebrows at the maid, irritated. There's no need for concern. I can get there on my own. I breathe a sigh of relief. I'm not here to babysit her. The maid leans forward and whispers something in my ear.
I don't know how it is that you landed this position, but you owe the royal family your diligence and respect. If you continue to show disrespect, I will be having a word with the king.
The maid pushes me forward so that I'm forced to stand next to Emmeline.
She will escort you to the dining hall, Your Highness. Her job requires that she follow you everywhere in case you require assistance with anything.
But
It is almost time for breakfast, Princess Emmeline.
Emmeline frowns and looks at me. I'm so sorry. What is she apologizing for? Good morning.
Good morning. It seems you have met your new personal maid.
The king's eyes widen as soon as he spots me.
You look familiar.
Does he recognize me? I feel a little tremble in my heart as I consider that hope.
Are you not the girl who came to the gates before?
I deflate with a soundless sigh. He remembers me as the peasant.
This is the first time I'm meeting you as Emmeline's personal maid. What is your name?
Lucette.
That is a lovely name. We're glad to have you here, Lucette.
The king gives me a warm smile. The softness in his gaze makes me angry. He never treated me so kindly when he remembered me as his own daughter. Emmeline takes her seat while I walk to a stand at the walls beside the other maids and butlers. The door opens and Rod walks inside. He greets the king, Ophelia, and then his sister. He's just about to take a seat when his eyes suddenly fall on me. The shock is apparent on his face.
Rod, is something wrong?
I see there's a new maid on staff.
His tone is almost accusatory. I bristle at his words and I'm about to say something when Ophelia speaks.
She is Emmeline's new personal maid, Lucette.
Rod stares at me for a few moments, his expression unreadable. Eventually he moves to take a seat. I stand silent and watch the royal family eat their breakfast. The small area is filled with happy conversation. 4 of them smile at each other when they speak, and it's easy to see how comfortable they all are with one another. When I was still here, our meals were always so quiet, but everyone looks so happy now. I bite my lip to will the heavy feeling away. Rod told me that before, but I didn't want to believe him. I turn back to the conversation at hand.
We have something very important to discuss with you, Emmeline.
Oh?
I've brought this up before, but now the matter is more pressing.
Is this about...
Yes, this is about the ball.
Ophelia gives the king a disapproving look.
Dear.
I know it seems a strange proposition, but this is a royal tradition. Emmeline is at a suitable marrying age, and this ball may yet help her find a suitor.
But a husband?
Emmeline's cheeks are tinted pink. A royal ball for Emmeline? For her to find a husband? I never would have agreed to such a thing. The king never forced me into one because he knew that.
I will not force you to marry someone you do not love, Emmeline. We agreed upon this ball to uphold tradition. All eligible bachelors will be invited in 4 months' time, and you will choose the man you want to court you. I did find my true love through a ball, after all.
He glances at Ophelia, who responds with a fond smile. Her expression falls back into something more worried when she looks at her daughter. But... what if I can't choose anyone?
Then you will be alone forever. I mean, we will throw one ball as per tradition.
I mean, that's fair.
We will not force you into another ball if you do not find a good suitor, but we must uphold traditions at least once. Perhaps this will push you to think more about the future.
But I want to stay with Rod.
I will not put any added pressure on you, Emmeline. But I would be happy to see grandchildren before I have to give up my throne. I'm not getting any younger, you know. I mean, how old is Emmeline? But then this is like.
If
this
Lucette's
time
almost 18 and Emmeline's about her age, I'd say she's probably 18 already.
Probably 16 or 17 would be my guess.
Well, if she's already like marrying age, she'd have to be 18, so I guess she's just a bit older than Lucette.
Oh, that's fair.
Or maybe, I don't know. It depends on how old Rod is, because she's older than Rod.
Could be 16.
I just wanted to go on record this entire time while everyone was serious, until just now when we finally made a joke. The only thing I've been thinking the whole time is, it's time to hold up tradition. Emily, go get the ball. Go get it. Get the ball. It's time for the traditional ball. Go get the ball, dear.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, god damn it.
Oh my god. But like, I don't know, if
you get one ball.
Rod would be
And only
16
one.
at most, I would think, so she'd either be 18, either that, or Rod's the same age as Lucette, and she might be in her 20s, but I honestly don't know.
I would guess probably 18.
We could probably Google it. For father, I want to.
Probably.
I'm gonna
That would
Google it now.
That would imply effort.
I don't know how to spell her name.
See, I'm just gonna do the easy thing, and where Dylan went to the ball joke, I
Okay,
went to
she's
Rod.
19.
Fuck.
She's 19. In the second game, she's 21.
Oh.
Well, she's pretty old.
Yeah. Rod is okay. He's 15. He's 18 in the next game, but he's 15 in this one. So Lucette's about 2 to
Man.
3 years older than him. How old,
Oh,
how
cool.
old is
All of my
everyone else?
All of my characters die in
Walt,
like their
Waltz is
their
21.
mid-teens.
Waltz is 21 and
mine.
22 in this game, and he's 24 in his second game. Okay, we already know that what's his face is 24. How old is Rumple is 24? How old is Karma?
Rumpel is 12.
Oh, Karma was supposed to be 19. Okay. Yeah, so oldest person is Rumple.
Ah,
Oh, wait, but
Sounds
how
old.
old is Fritz?
all this, and I'm still sitting over here.
Wow, Fritz is old too. He and Walter are the same age. They're both 21 in this game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Old. That feel when you're that old, man.
Like Rumple last year. It's thinking he's freaking ancient for being 24. Ouch. Okay. I can tell the king is trying to make light of this situation, but there is an undertone of seriousness. Emmeline eventually sighs and slowly nods. I understand. My gaze shifts to Rod in search for a reaction, but his expression is impassive. No reaction at all. Did he know this was going to happen? But can I really be the princess the kingdom of Angiel deserves? I feel so unprepared.
You are the crown princess of Angiel. You must be confident.
Emmeline looks down, looking generally distressed. I'm finished. May I be excused?
But sweetheart, you've barely touched your food.
You may.
Emmeline stands up and ducks into a quick curtsy before rushing from the room. I do not move until I feel Rod's glare on me. I realize that I'm meant to follow Emmeline. Excuse me. I curtsy and follow after Emmeline. I barely make it a few steps away from the dining hall before the door flies open and Rod is rushing after me.
What are you doing here?
Gonna make a
Ooh, we're on
save.
choices.
Boop. I legit don't remember anything about his route at all. I'm thinking we should answer him. What do you guys think?
I
I
have
would.
no idea. It's like currently their situation is like he's so angry at her, so I have no idea how he's gonna respond to either choice.
I feel like because they seem to have similar personalities, and since Lucettes usually direct and want answers right away, I feel like he would too.
I'm
I know.
good with 8 for him. That seems
Okay.
legit.
And
That
what-
seems fair.
Which one did you say, Willie?
I would answer him.
Okay. What about you, Abby?
Let's answer him. See how she
I'm-
answers.
I'm in the minority, so it's okay.
Oh, you're gonna avoid the question.
I could see that being the correct
Yeah.
answer as well, though, so that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Because I just view them as, yeah, they're both explosive, so I'm just assuming that when she answers him, she's gonna say something stupid. Who knows?
We'll
Both
see.
of those sound like she could do that.
She might be like if she's too blunt, it might upset him. But I also feel like he'd be like that because he'd be like, "Bitch, tell me." I don't know. Alright, answer
Find
him.
out.
I'm here to break my curse.
You expect me to believe that you had people offering to help when you... You expect me to believe that when you had people offering to help at the margin?
Ra's expression changes, anger clear in his eyes.
No. I know why you're really here.
What are you talking about?
You thought you might take back what's rightfully yours, didn't you? You have no qualms about hurting my family again.
I stare at him, nonplussed by his accusations. I carefully quell the simmering anger inside me. The last thing I want to be is fired before I break my curse. I'm not here to hurt anyone, so stop accusing me of such things. We glare at each other in silence. Ah, good answer. I always thought that Rod was closed off and quiet, but his emotions are always blazing in his eyes.
You shouldn't be here.
Rod steps back, but his gaze is still fierce. I do not have time for this. I'm going to find Emmeline.
Why? So you can insult her?
No, because it's now my job to attend to her. Excuse me. The last place I expect to find Emmeline is in the throne room. Much to my surprise, I find her standing alone inside, staring up at the throne. Oh! When she turns to face me, she has a guilty expression on her face. I'm sorry. What is she apologizing for? I was very rude earlier, walking out on everyone at breakfast. Emily gazes back at the throne and sighs. I'm sure any other girl would be happy to have a ball. I mean, it's like something out of a fairy tale. But She sighs once again and looks down at her clasped hands. It all sounds so perfect in fairy tales. 3 days is all it takes before everyone's found their true love. But I don't think that's how it works out in real life. Do you? I have nothing to say in response when Emmeline turns her beseeching gaze to me. I don't know how I'm supposed to marry someone I barely even know. Is it really what it means to be the crown princess? Isn't this precisely what you wanted? Excuse me? When your mother married the king, you became a princess. You went from rags to riches overnight. I cannot keep the bitterness from my voice when I speak. Your life is played out like Cinderella's, is it not? Are you sure you're missing the glass? All you're missing is the glass slippers, and even then I'm sure the king could arrange for a pair. I cannot understand why you're so unhappy. Neither can I. Emmeline turns away from me to face the throne once more. And in the sun that streams through the windows, I see something shining on her cheeks. Is she crying? I am so ungrateful. Usat, what would you do? What? If you were in my place, if you became crown princess overnight, would you go through with the ball? For the sake of Angel's tradition? For the sake of your role? I would never do anything so worthless. The king never brought up the subject with me. He most likely knew I would have refused. Emmeline suddenly pats her cheeks and turns to me, a wry smile on her face. I could do with some fresh air. Should we go to my friend's shop in town? We've only just exited the throne room when Emmeline stopped short and I almost bump into her back. Oh!
Your Highness. What a pleasant...
Sir Mithros abruptly stops to stare at me. Uh-oh. Is she saying that out loud? Why
Nope.
is Sir Mithros looking at me so intently? Is something a matter, Sir Mithros?
Lame.
No, nothing at all, Your Highness. I am just
Guess I forgot to italicize her part.
amused.
Might have been.
Amused. Oh, you haven't met my new maid. This is Lucette.
This is awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Lucette.
There's something in Sir Mithros's gaze that I do not trust. The silence is stifling, so I curtsy at him. Sir?
Charming.
Sir Mithros turns his attention back to Elaine.
Where are you off to on this pleasant day?
Oh, just off to visit a friend.
Make sure to bring your guards with you, Princess.
Of course. I wonder what's taking him so long. Emmeline decided to invite Rod to join us on her visit. One of the guards offered to get Rod for her, but he has still yet to return. Another stands with us by the gates, ready to escort us into town. Why does the king even keep these incompetent fools if they cannot find a single person? Maybe we should go look for Rod. But then what if he gets here as soon as we go searching for him? I sigh. I will go look for him. You can stay here. But you don't need to run errands for me. She has yet to ask me to do anything. What does she think a maid even does? I look at her solemnly, not answering her. Finally, she relents. Thank you, Lisette. I incline my head just slightly before walking off. I feel like a babysitter. I can't believe I have to search for Rod. This is only slightly better than being dragged around by a fat broom.
I heard that.
I turn around the corner and nearly bump into someone. I take a few steps back, just in time.
Princess?
I look up in shock. Fritz's surprise mirrors my own.
Where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah. I like how the 15-year-old has a deeper voice than the 21-year-old.
Okay, look. I don't have an excuse for this. But now.
He pauses to stare at my clothing.
Why are you wearing a maid's uniform?
Fritz, you remember who I am?
I would never forget you, Princess Lucette.
He's so wholesome.
And that tells you why. And that's definitely the reason why his voice is higher, and no other reason.
Well, you know what? Go find some more wholesome, deep voice dudes, alright?
He's gonna
No.
die. Wait, what are you worried about? Not in
Alright.
this
The
story.
voice is fine. It
Alright.
fits.
He has yet to survive a story path he wasn't a part of.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay, look. But it doesn't seem... It does seem like I'm the only one who remembers you.
Rod coughs in the distance.
What's going on, Princess?
The only people who can remember me are witches, fairies, and... Fritz, are you? I stop when I hear the sound of approaching footsteps. Fritz turns at the sound and then stoops low in a formal bow when he sees Rod.
Your Highness.
Nice curtsy, bro.
Dude, same.
Rod's impassive face twists with annoyance when he sees me. Rod doesn't even acknowledge Fritz as he walks past him to stop in front of me.
Wow.
Shouldn't you be attending to my sister? I don't understand. Prince Rod, do you know why the princess is dressed like this?
This poor man. Rod is clearly
And yeah,
just.
now he's just like, wait, what?
And now they're both like, why can he remember her?
We're just in this awkward, like, little triangle of confused.
Poor Fritz.
It's kind of great.
Rod is clearly just as surprised as I am that Fritz remembers me.
Why am I 2/3 of a triangle? You recognize her? You remember the princess too? But if you knew, why didn't you say anything when she first went missing?
More awkward.
Oh boy.
Can anyone explain to me why she's attending Princess Emmeline? This is...
Fritz. I cut him off before he can ask any more questions. I feel Rod's gaze on my
Confusing
back
as
as I turn I turn my gaze back as I turn to look at Fritz. No more questions.
But, princess,
Right now I am a palace maid.
for a what?
It's a long story and I have no time to explain now, so do not ask. Fritz is clearly discontent. He seems to struggle for a few moments before he finally sighs and nods.
Yes, your highness.
Though it is nice to hear someone here speak my title, it will not do if Fritz calls me that on accident. It is just Lucette for now.
But,
I turn to face Rod. Emmeline is waiting.
what?
The guard could not even deliver her message.
Where are you going?
Emmeline wants to visit her friend's shop in town, and she wants you to go with us, Rod.
Town?
Ordinarily, I would not mind Fritz joining us, but right now he might just be unnecessary company.
Yes,
He may-
town. It's those things where people live.
He may very well
He's just so
give me away. Rod barely wants to speak with me when it's just the two of us. I doubt Fritz would make him more sociable.
I'm assuming that accompanying you is not an option at this point.
Yes. Fritz looks down for a moment before looking at Rod.
I'm sorry to ask this of you, your highness, but since she refuses to let me do so, please look after Princess Lucette in my place.
Oh.
Ridiculous. I do not need to be coddled. Even if I did, Rod couldn't care less if I am hurt.
Guilty. I will do my best, Sir Fitzgerald. I will continue to read that name wrong.
Alright. I cannot tell if he's being genuine or not. I read his dad's name wrong all the time. Fritz-
Sir Alcaster.
Yeah. I always read as Alicaster, even though it's just Alicaster. Fritz bows to the both of us.
Stay safe,
Prinny?
Lucette.
You got it, dude!
And you, your highness.
Rod turns and begins to walk away without another word.
Come on.
Rod is silent as we make our way back to the palace gates. He's just a little angry
Ooh, that
noodle.
might have been the weirdest.
I'm still thinking about what he said to Fritz earlier. Why would Rod agree to Fritz's request? Because he just wanted him to leave? I stare at Rod's back as he walks in front of me. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he's thinking. Rod! Lucette! Emmeline beams when she catches sight of us. Are you ready? Rod crosses his arms. He does not look very happy with his sister. Even though Rod is younger, I cannot help but think that he often sounds like the older of the two.
Goody. I am busy, Emmeline. I can't keep dropping everything whenever you want to leave the palace.
I'm sorry, I just really needed some fresh air today.
You can get plenty of fresh air on the palace grounds.
I felt I needed to be off the palace grounds. Emmeline's face drops as she looks down at the ground. I lets out an exasperated sigh before stepping inside the carriage.
Come on.
Rod?
Just for an hour, okay?
Thank you. That was a beautiful noise, whatever that was. I soon
Same.
I soon come to realize that it's easier to walk around town now that everyone has forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the
Ouch.
spiteful stares are gone.
Princess Emmeline!
Oh, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? Emmeline has responded to most of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emmeline speaks with the man. The night escorts hover somewhere nearby, watching for disturbances. We're going to take longer than an hour if she continues like this.
I am not going to rush her.
Don't you need to return to the palace to continue whatever work it is you were doing? Rod raises an eyebrow at me.
I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. If this makes Emmeline happy, then I will gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing.
Happy? I look more closely at Emmeline. She's smiling, but then she's always smiles. I do not understand.
She's more at ease talking to the townspeople sometimes because they do not judge her.
Why would she have to worry about being judged? It's clear that everyone adores her. Emmeline takes the man's hand in hers as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture.
See that? That's goodness. You could learn something from my sister, Lucette.
Is goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers? Emmeline eventually says her goodbyes before walking towards a familiar store. This is the toy shop I visited with Emmeline and Rod before. I glance at Rod and notice the expression on his face. He seems conflicted. But why? Before I can ask, Rod marches in the front of me and decisively pushes open the door. When I enter, Emmeline is already hugging the shop girl, Viorica.
Emmeline, you look as beautiful as ever.
Oh, please, I look the same. You, on the other hand. Emmeline steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love suits you. When's the wedding? Wedding? She's already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eye and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. Though his expression is as impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders.
Desmond? And I haven't set a date yet, but it should be soon. Would you?
Viorica trails off when she notices the rest of us.
That's a name.
Hello, Rod.
Viorica.
His tone is surprisingly static. Last time he was here, I am sure he sounded friendlier.
So what can I help you with, Emmeline? Looking for another doll?
Another doll? But Emmeline isn't interested in dolls. Oh no, I'm just here to see you. I couldn't stay for long since Rod has things to do.
Emmeline, I'll be waiting for you outside.
Oh? Okay. I know it's my job to follow Emmeline around, but I'm not at all interested in hearing her talk to this girl.
Is he butthurt because he was interested in that chick and she's getting married? Because that's what I'm reading out of this entire thing.
I think
Also,
so.
I'm reading.
Because I remember him being a lot more friendly when they were here in the prologue. I'm pretty sure he's butthurt.
Yeah. Does she even want me here? I would say
Who knows?
stay with her.
He's just been very angry overall with Lucette just being around.
It is quite literally our job, therefore stay with
I
me.
say stay.
Okay, that's 3 out
Yep.
of 5.
Just do your job.
If I count. Alright. Boop. Before I can decide what I want to do, Emmeline has turned to look at me with a smile. This is Lucette. She just started working as my personal maid today.
It's not like you to make a maid follow you around.
Emmeline's expression quickly becomes apologetic. I'm sorry, Lucette. I realized I didn't ask if you want to come with us. I just expected you to take along. Why is she apologizing? I am meant to tend to her regardless of where she is, unless she dismisses me.
I'm sure Lucette doesn't mind. Such a beautiful day today, after all.
Emmeline turns to me and smiles. You don't have to wait for me if you don't want to, Lucette. I won't be long. All I want to see Viorica for a bit. I haven't been able to see her as often since I've moved.
Well, that's to be expected. Princesses shouldn't be associating with shop girls like me.
Viorica has a point. Why does Emmeline insist on this? But you're my best friend. I'm still not accustomed to the fact that I can't just visit you every day.
Those were the good old days, when we were still neighbors.
I just noticed their hairs and eye colors are legit just the opposite of each other. I'd live next to you if I could. Do you remember all those games of tag we used to play together when we were children? Remember how Rod always lost? The two girls laughed together at this shared memory. I try not to roll my eyes. So they were all childhood friends.
Are you sure there's nothing I can help you with?
We all turn at the sound of the door chimes as the customer walks in.
Excuse me. One moment.
Viorica turns to Emmeline with a guilty expression.
I'm so sorry, but I have to take this.
No, it's alright. I'll come see you another time.
I promise we can talk for as long as you want next time.
Emmeline smiles and hugs her friend in farewell. I follow closely behind Emmeline as she exits the shop. Rod pushes away from the wall that he's been leaning against once he notices us leaving. Oh, we never got a gem. I guess we were supposed to leave?
Of course he leans against walls.
Yeah, it's me.
Did anyone else notice a gem, or did we just get our first wrong answer?
We just
We
got
got
it.
the wrong answer.
Wrong.
Well,
Ready to go?
Emily nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we return to the palace, evening has fallen. I hope we're not late for dinner. The minute the carriage doors open, we are greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros stand before us.
Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod. I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mithros informed me of your whereabouts. I can speak today.
That feeling when the two final bosses show up.
He glares at the knight escort and the knight shrinks back.
But who is the winning final boss this time?
Obviously me. Duh.
Joke, it's... No. Psych, it's the little plushie on Rod's shoulder.
Obviously.
Sir Alcaster...
It's either... Cool, it's either me, or Haku. This is fine.
Sir Alcaster turned sharply to me afterwards, his eyes narrowed. Why is he looking at me like that?
It was getting late and the queen was worried.
I'm so sorry.
Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod. It's almost time for dinner. Please let me escort you inside.
Sir Mithros gestures for them to follow. I'm about to follow after them when Sir Alcaster suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then closes it and shakes his head.
You are dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters.
But...
That is an order.
His gaze is piercing. Even when I was princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way back to the room assigned to me. As I walked in the hall, I noticed Rod heading in my direction. Rod? He suddenly grabs my arm and pulls me away down the hall. Where are you taking me? Rod does not answer and just continues Rod does not answer and just continues moving until we reach an unfamiliar door.
My room.
What's going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger on my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling through the door with him.
Ooh.
This place. I've heard about this place before, but I've never seen it. Is this the secret passage? Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Rod does not.
Patches.
Surprise! Right. Rod does not answer me. He simply keeps walking, and I see no other option but the trail after him. How is it you know this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops, and I bump into his back. I stumble back with a scowl.
You're asking too many questions.
Because you refuse to answer any of them. I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound.
Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage. It makes sneaking out of the palace easier.
Parfait?
She did not give me any explanation as to how she knew of this place. There are only meant to be 2 copies of keys. The king has one, and Alcaster has the other.
Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king.
I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also has a copy. She saw fit to provide me with a key for my own use.
What? How does Parfait have a key to this place?
You'll have to ask her that yourself.
Once we step into town, I realize that this is where we are headed. We're going back to the Marchand. Delora is the first person we see as soon as we enter the Marchand.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in.
Delora, you... Rod's glare silences me. He steps forward and points back at me, gaze icy.
She is not staying at the palace.
What? Delora raises an eyebrow.
Why's that? She works there now.
I do not know what game you are playing, but I will not be a part of it.
Excuse me? This is not a game.
I do not want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers.
The room's temperature drops several degrees. Delora stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion.
With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse, doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you would be able to help her.
Rod raises an eyebrow.
Where is Lady Parfait?
Of course you want to talk to Parfait, because she puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you.
Delora curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated, but he doesn't put a voice to his agitation. Now that we're alone in the empty room, the silence is deafening. And so I ask him the question that has bothered me since we've been here. I feel like the second one? What does everyone else think?
I'd say curse.
I would also say curse.
Yeah.
Because he basically just explained why he doesn't want her there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Because he thinks it's mean.
I vote curse.
Okay.
Oh, you clicked on it.
Yeah.
I do not need to explain myself to you.
Do you even know how to break your curse?
I do.
So why are you not doing anything?
It's none of your business.
I do not realize the anger inside me at first, and then I notice that my hands are fists and that I'm shaking. You are angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either.
Excuse me?
I realize this is the angriest that I've felt in a long time, and it makes words fall out of my mouth. You are guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. We are both being cruel to family, aren't we? Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks toward me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line.
As you are so fond of telling Emmeline, we do not share any blood. The only thing pulling us together is the king, and you do not share his morals. Remember this, Lucette. You will never be a part of my family. And I will never see you as a sister.
Rod storms out of the reception area just as Delora enters.
Sorry. Looks like Parfait wasn't in.
She pauses and gives me a wry smile.
Seems this partnership is going well.
I throw my hands up in anger. He is infuriating!
Not as helpful as you thought. I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place.
All I have been doing today is following around Emmeline, and he still finds a reason to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I'm making an honest effort to break my curse. Laura eyes me as she slides down into a chair.
Has he told you anything about his curse?
Only that he knows how to break it. Delora sighs.
Boys can be so secretive about the silliest things. Rod has been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning.
Then why hasn't he broken it?
I have no idea. I think the only other person who knows the full terms and conditions of Rod's curse is Parfait.
Parfait.
Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the Marchen, even after he gave up on breaking his curse. Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to try finding another way to break his curse.
Another way.
Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk.
I doubt that very much. It seems like that all I'm doing is convincing Rod that I do not deserve to break my own curse. Delora looks at me curiously for a few moments, then she grins.
I have an idea.
If this is another terrible idea...
Oh no, this one's much better. I'll just stick around with you. You know, watch out for you.
Oh yes, this is one of the lines where you get to see some bonding time between them.
Oh, this is going to be delightful.
Right? That awkward moment where you're stuck in the palace where your stepbrother that hates you and the witch that cursed you. What? Delora, watch out for me. She's a doll. I'm surprised that Delora suddenly stands before me in her doll form.
There's no way you and Rod are going to sort yourselves out without some kind of help. So I'll be tagging along. It's much easier when I'm travel-sized,
Why do I feel like she'll only make things worse?
Come on, then.
Delora somehow manages to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body.
Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace.
Chapter 4. One step forward. Oh, no scene with Mom? Okay. It's been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the Marchen. He's been avoiding me since that day. Not that we even have much cause to be around each other nowadays. I'm constantly on my feet preparing for Emmeline's ball. This is ridiculous.
Better to be busy than bored, princess.
I stop for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics that I am carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to a designated room so that it can be sorted out. I'm being reduced to fetching and carrying, and I made no progress on accomplishing my first good deed. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel a shuffling in my pocket, and then notice Delora peeking her porcelain face out.
Better to obey rather than disobey, at least. You're not going to get a good deed by being stubborn. Anyway, you've got to put yourself out there a bit more, princess. You can't just do whatever is convenient for you. That's not good.
Delora has been no help at all.
Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is?
I stop in front of the door in my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I've been ignoring this room, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence.
Do you want to go in?
Why should I? It's not as if it's my room anymore.
Oh, you're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I guess a little peek would not hurt. I step into the room and close the door behind me. It's like stepping into the past. The room is exactly as I left it. It seems completely untouched. Moments later, Delora is standing before me in her human form.
It looks like someone's been dusting in here. Strange, considering no one should remember who this room even belongs to.
I glance around, eyes wide. Everything looks the same. I put the fabrics I'm carrying down on my bed and make my way to the shelf where my dolls are displayed. My eyes pause on a specific doll. That's a creepy looking doll. This one was not here before. Laura raises an eyebrow.
Maybe you just don't remember that one because she wasn't very memorable. You do have a lot of dolls after all.
No, I know each of my dolls by name. This one is definitely new. She looks very similar to the dolls I saw at Fiorca's shop. I quickly turned to the sound of the doorknob. My eyes moved to Delora, but she's already turned into a doll and tucked herself into the corner of the shelf with the rest of my dolls. Emily stands in the doorway, eyeing me curiously. Lucette, what are you doing here? I made a mistake and thought I was supposed to bring these fabrics here. I hope she does not see through my lie. Emmeline shakes her head, smiling. It's not your fault, Lucette. You're still getting used to the palace and its many rooms. I get lost here all the time when I first arrived, too. This room is interesting, though. Father expressly ordered that it be kept clean, but otherwise undisturbed. Why would he say that? He wouldn't say why, but apparently this room is very special to him. Maybe it belonged to someone he cherished. Cherished? What a joke. Still, I cannot help but feel hope at her suggestion.
No, did I miss anything?
Not really. Aside from a random doll.
You missed Rod losing his shit.
That too.
It's unfortunate.
I just noticed all the texts in Discord.
And we're having quality time with Delora.
In that's old room. Interesting.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, Delora's a doll now. It's fine. fine.
Yeah, I saw that.
Going back and forth. I don't think Father would like either of us being in here. We should leave soon. I only came here to put a ribbon on one of the dolls. One of the dolls? Yes, I've put one of my dolls here. She walks past me to pick up the doll I did not recognize. I bought this. I know Emmeline always visited Viorica, but I did not think she liked dolls. She always preferred receiving and buying books, so why does she have this doll? Do you like dolls? Well, I mean, I don't mind them, but I usually don't buy them for myself, no. So why did you buy this one? Emmeline looks at the doll with a sad smile and shakes her head. I'm not sure. I bought this as a gift, I remember that much. I was going to give it to someone who liked dolls, someone I wanted to befriend. I don't know why, but it feels right to leave the doll here until I can remember whom I meant to give her to. Emmeline is silent for a moment before she turns to me with a bright smile. I know you have a delivery to make, but can you come with me to the palace entrance first? Mother is still busy talking with the cook, so the fabrics can wait. I resist the urge to glare at her. She better not be dragging me around to do yet more errands. I'm expecting a delivery, and I might need your help. I thought so. I have no choice but to nod. Of course. I begrudgingly follow Emmeline towards the entrance, and here I see the delivery carriage. A familiar person stands beside it. Viorica! Emmeline pulls Viorica into a tight hug. I turn my attention away to glare at the number of boxes at the back of the carriage. I will no doubt have to help carry them inside.
How are the preparations for the ball coming?
Emmeline's smile seems forced at first, but then eases into something softer. It's going well, I suppose. How about the wedding?
Desmond and I have finalized the date. It'll be 2 days after your ball.
I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. These two always talk so much when they get together. I ignore their chatter as I walk up to the carriage to observe the boxes piled inside. What's in the boxes? Oh wait.
Oh.
Viorica reaches out to grab one. She hands it to me.
I'm helping with the ball decorations. I came by with part of the order today.
Part of it?
Careful, it's a bit heavy.
I take the box from her hands and nearly stumble. This is heavy. Emmeline should have made the male servants do this.
Queen Ophelia placed quite a large order. I brought the more fragile decorations first.
Must be a whole chandelier. Oh, the glass baubles and vases? I grit my teeth as I shift the box in my arms in an attempt to make it easier to hold. I thought you worked at a toy shop?
Yes, but we also have aisles dedicated specifically to party decorations.
Really heavy ones. What kind of toy shop is that? Lucette, will you be alright? I feel annoyance simmer within me. I am obviously not alright. Emmeline reaches out to help me with the box, but she is too late. I only have taken one step forward when the box slides and I stumble. I manage to cradle in my arms, but the weight is too much for me. Before I hit the ground, I feel strong arms around my waist, pulling me back upright. The box is taken from me. My heart and mind are racing, and for a moment I cannot comprehend what's just happened. Charles! Here, Willie?
My bad, I was muted.
Ah,
Are you alright?
Rod? I glance aside and I'm shocked to see Rod standing there. The expression on his face gives nothing away, but with our close distance I can see some flicker of emotion in his bright eyes. Concern? I am. Lucette, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Rod pushes me and I stumble forward, almost tripping on the ground. He raises an eyebrow at me.
Know your limits, Lucette.
I glare at him as his anger begins to bubble up in my chest. As anger. Okay, tell him off or stay silent.
I feel like this one should be obvious. Stay silent.
See,
I mean...
what does everyone else think?
Well, then again. Yeah, I feel like stay silent because she just like she just causes a scene.
Okay, Charles is
somehow.
off.
Oh, good God.
Charles is just gonna pick fight.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
I would say I'm impressed he showed up, but I just realized he didn't actually promise you he was going to show up. So obviously,
That's fair. Somehow I never thought of it that way.
Come off for having a bad bow tie.
yeah, you notice if he ever tells you he'll show up, he doesn't show up. If he doesn't say a word, here he is.
Now that I've read chat, now hold on there, Charles. My bow tie is fantastic. It's also not a bow tie.
That is
I don't-
ribbon.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like a scarf, but he just ties it like a bow. Or whatever you want to call it.
Hi, Charles. I have literally. Oh, that's not right. That's not true. I had one line for the broom.
Alright, what does everyone else think we should do? I got one of each for now.
As stay silent.
Okay, that's
It's the right answer.
two
I
silent.
feel like that is the right answer.
If it's not, I'm gonna be astonished.
Okay, Abby sounds like
I'm
she's
willing
going
to stay silent, even though I say fighting, but I'll go with be quiet.
Okay, I think too.
I mean, we're going to screw this up, so we're going to go through this again at least once. We
Yeah,
can get it
but
down.
like we haven't gotten enough wrong answers yet, so we could still try.
it. Knowing us, we're going to screw this up.
I was gonna say,
Probably.
we have literally not gotten a good ending first yet. So
I'm trying to remember if I even got a good ending for anyone on my own, and I think I only did for one person. Maybe, I don't know. Alright, we're gonna stay silent.
There's a 3 out of 5 chance that it was one of my characters. And knowing my luck, it's none of them.
It was probably, if I did, it would have been Waltz, I think. Because
Fuck.
I don't remember what his bad ending was at all, so I think Waltz was the only one that I was able to get the right ending on my own, which is really sad. Alright. I clench my fist and take a deep breath to try and calm myself. It doesn't help that that was before I even started dating one either, and I was like, this is why I'm single. I will not stoop to his level. He is the one being cruel here, not me. Ooh, good choice.
I was really hoping that would be wrong. You shouldn't have stubbornly tried to carry something that was too heavy for you.
Really? Did the thing not work?
In that case, I'm gonna go to the stream that's in front of me instead of the stream that's on my phone. I will not take responsibility if you get hurt. My screen is paused, by the way.
Oh,
Oh dear.
that's weird.
IDs.
it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
working on our end.
Yeah, no, it was my end. Hey, geeks.
Rod, you shouldn't be angry with her for trying to help me. It was my fault for giving her something so heavy.
Yorka, what are you doing here?
Rod's voice is still cold. Yurika looks startled by his tone.
I only came to deliver some of the decorations for the ball.
And you thought Emmeline and her maid could carry these on their own?
Rod, this is not her fault. I'm the one who chose to bring Lucette with me. I underestimated the size of the size of the delivery. I am not used to talking in a high voice like this. Alright. Viorica just delivers Alright. Okay. Viorica was just delivering the supplies. At least she admits her mistakes. I never thought Rod would be so stubborn. Emmeline's expression softens as she looks at her brother. She looks sad. Rod ignores her and picks up the box that I've been carrying. He begins to walk away before he suddenly stops and glances back at me.
Come on.
Rod?
We're going to call some servants to carry these boxes in.
He turns around and begins to walk away. I am Emmeline's personal maid, not his. I glance at Emmeline, who nods her head. I'm really so sorry. Thank you for helping my brother, Lucette. She curtsies ever so slightly before running off after Rod. Rod, wait! He picks up his pace as if trying to lose me. I turn the corner and barely stop myself before running right into Rod's back.
What now?
Why are you so angry at me today? I've barely even spoken to you.
Your mere presence is enough to darken my mood.
I glare at him and cross my arms. Funny, you call me cruel, but right now you are worse than I ever was.
I don't need someone who hasn't ever managed a single good deed to lecture me. I disagree.
I have to try very hard to resist the urge to slap him.
Side note, how am I being a hoe, Luna?
You were supposed to help me get a good deed.
As I said before, I never agreed to this. I still refuse to help you.
Rod starts walking again and I hurry after him. I cannot help but recall how cold he was with Viorca earlier.
He is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
God, he's such a twat.
Yeah, what do you think I'm playing him?
I'm not touching that one. You can keep it.
I thought they were friends, but he treated her like this at the toy shop too. Why are you so angry with Viorca earlier?
No reason.
I raise an eyebrow when Rod quickly answers the question. Then you were cold for no reason. You have such a princely disposition. Rod frowns but has no rebuttal for my words.
Rags.
You must be generally cold and unfriendly.
Excuse me?
Nice, Luna. Right.
Freaking wrecked.
That would explain why you treat Viorca as you did. I had thought you two were childhood friends.
Viorica was always closer with Emmeline than me.
Call him the Ice Prince.
We may have been friendly once, but we've since become distant.
Distant.
It's none of your business.
I pause as we pass by my
Besides,
door.
I have to work on a gun and somehow gain glasses. That is a joke that no one in this chat will understand.
Nope. I pause as we pass by my door, remembering that I left both the fabrics and Delora inside. I make my way towards the door and open it.
What are you doing?
None of your business.
Wrecked.
Enjoyed your field trip?
I frown when I see her sitting on my bed in human form. What would you have done if it wasn't me?
Dude, same.
Us witches have a sense for these things.
Delora?
Rod slowly enters the room. It's the plushie.
Who's the plushie again?
Really?
That would also be me.
Oh, fair enough.
It's nice to see you here, Lady Delora.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
That was good.
Nice to see you too, little Sebby.
What if we had a helium balloon? That'd be great.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking of trying to do a high-pitched, goofy voice for it, but you
I
know.
don't know.
I mean, I could probably go and get a helium balloon.
Do you just
Why are you here?
have them randomly stashed in your house somewhere?
I could probably go out and buy one.
Delora shrugs as she inspects her nails.
Ah, I thought I would help the princess here, since someone doesn't seem very willing.
Rod furrows his eyebrows at her.
I didn't.
Yes, I know. You didn't sign up for this.
I can almost hear the air quotes.
But
I
do
never
you
asked
really...
for this.
But do you really think you have a choice, Rod?
Flora looks at Rod pointedly.
You know the consequences if this fails.
Rod looks away, expression conflicted. Consequences? What are you talking about? Consequences for not helping me with my curse? Rod sighs heavily before turning back to Dora. He does not pay attention to me.
I am not the right person for this.
Doesn't matter what you think. The princess thought you were, so suck it up and do your job.
Rod is silent for a few moments before he finally faces me, looking resigned.
I will help you then, but do not expect me to change my opinions of you.
I shrug at him. It's not like I was expecting you to... It's not like I was expecting you to in the first place. Laura grins with clear triumph.
Good talk.
Rod sighs.
If there was ever a time to use that phrase, it was right there. In order to achieve your good deeds, you're going to need to mend what you broke before.
I feel like I already know what he's going to say.
My sister has always wanted to be your friend, so you must do just that. Show her kindness, and you may be able to get your first good deed through her.
Show her kindness, huh? Flora decides to stay in my room for the time being, saying that she believes Rod will be able to help me for now. Later, I make my way to the dining room with the fabrics and see Emmeline and Ophelia inside. What's that?
Ah, I see you have the fabric. Thank you.
Ophelia takes the topmost sample of fabric and begins to expect as Emmeline walks up to me. Where's Rod? He's returned to his studies. Oh, right. He has history lessons today, and I'm yet to finish my history homework, which is due tomorrow. As Emmeline muses out loud, I wonder what Rod told me earlier. Or ponder. I must become Emmeline's friend, but is that really a good deed? I hope Rod doesn't send the servants out before he went back to his room. I wanted to tell him that Viorka and I already called on guards to bring the boxes inside.
Maybe he decided to start his lessons earlier so that he can make your dance lesson this evening.
Dance lesson? Father wanted to hire the best dance instructor in Angiel, but I honestly feel more comfortable with Rod teaching me. He's a good dancer, so Father has allowed it. That is a surprise. I did not know Rod could dance.
He used to prefer singing, but then...
Ophelia trails off. I know what she's thinking about about the fairy tale curse, because I do not expect her to divulge such information to a maid like myself.
He's decided to focus on his dancing for the past few months.
Ophelia glances down at the fabrics and looks up and smiles at me.
Lucette, would you mind helping me with this?
I obediently walk over to the fabrics Ophelia wants me to look through. They're apparently samples for the tablecloth that will be used during the ball. This is going to be a long day.
And yes, Charles, I do get a bunny on my shoulder.
Rod comes immediately to the throne room after his history lessons to start on his dance lessons with Emmeline. I'm only standing here because it's my responsibility as a personal maid to watch over her as she practices. I watch as she steps out of rhythm and Rod sighs at her.
You're doing it wrong. That's the 10th time.
Sorry.
Again.
They start from the beginning and I'm unable to stifle my own sigh when Emmeline messes up the same step again. This will make it the 11th time. I really am terrible at this.
Would you rather have the royal dance instructor teach you? He has more experience teaching than I do.
Oh no, I really do want you to teach me, Rod. I'm sorry I'm such a slow learner. You're always good at everything. Singing, dancing, cooking. Prince Rod cooks? Yes, Rod does cook. He's very good at it.
You didn't have to tell her that, Em.
Does it really matter? I love bragging about how talented my little brother is. I see a tinge of pink in Rod's cheek as he turns away. Is he embarrassed? Emmeline looks down at the floor, her smile smaller. I wish I was as talented as you, Rod. I always thought Emmeline was overly optimistic. She's always seemed to bounce back with a smile no matter how many times I pushed her away. And I cannot help but reconsider that thought. Still, seeing her like this only irritates me. Pitying yourself will get you nowhere. Not everyone can be perfect at everything when they first start out. I remember when Mother gave me similar lessons. She was always such a harsh teacher, and she hated when I showed weakness in front of her. She made me keep practicing until I had perfected whatever it was she wanted me to do. Failure was never an option. I never had time for self-pity. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just try harder. Let failure inspire you to do better.
Lucette, that was...
She's right, Rod. Instead of complaining, I should be working harder. I let out an exasperated sigh and crossed my arms. You always look at your feet whenever you reach the underarm turn. Instead, focus on counting your steps and let Prince Rod lead you. Worrying too much about your next step is what puts you off rhythm. Emmeline stares at me. Can you dance, Suzette? I can. Why? Wow, that's amazing! There is nothing amazing about me being able to dance. Her praise makes me embarrassed regardless. Maybe I can learn faster seeing someone else do the dance first.
Here we go.
Em, what are you talking about?
It might be easier to copy the steps if I can have someone perform them first. She turns to me suddenly, eyes bright. Would you help me? I meant to assist Emmeline in any way that I can, but dancing with her brother? Surely I'm a lonely maid should not do this.
Yep.
I feel like...
Nope. Do it. Do it.
Accept?
Do it.
Do it.
Of course I
Good.
can. You don't have a choice.
I feel like the
Yeah.
I feel like the bunny. I feel like the bunny on his shoulder is just like, heh, this is getting kind of awkward, isn't it, bud?
The bunny is just
to be
along
you.
for the ride, secretly
Sucks
shipping
to
and
be you
people
right
and all
now.
that.
Sucks to be you, bitch.
Well, if I do accept, at least I can prove I'm a better dancer than Rod. Besides,
Ooh.
I'm supposed to be listening to Emily, no matter how absurd her requests are. If it is what you want. Really? Emmeline rushes up to me and takes my hand in hers. Thank you, Lisette. I thought it might be an awkward request, but I'm so happy you've agreed to this.
I'm gonna be so mad if this is the wrong answer.
Same. I turn to look at Rod, who's glowering at me.
I am not dancing with her. She might step on my feet.
Emmeline gives him a disapproving look. Rod, please. Rod eyes me warily. I step toward him and offer my hand. Shall we? Rod scowls at me for a few moments before finally taking my hand. Look at them. They're like awkward middle schoolers at a school dance. I put my hand on his shoulder and he places his hand on the small of my back. Rod looks at me but quickly averts his gaze. Is something wrong?
I didn't think I would ever have to dance with you, is all.
Neither did I. Rod looks at me again. This time he has an uncomfortable scowl on his face. He's not the only one uncomfortable here. We both start dancing and I mentally start counting the steps. It's been a long time since I last danced with anyone, but the steps come to me naturally. The dance is rather simple. While Rod and I move stiffly, I cannot help but notice his careful footwork. I realize that Rod really is a pretty decent dancer. Of course, I would never openly admit that. When we stop, I hear Emmeline clapping her hands as she looks at the both of us in awe. You really are a good dancer. Thank you so much for showing me the steps. Now I know for sure what to do during that part. I just shrug at her before stepping back into the corner. Emmeline takes her position in front of Rod once more. This time she has a bright smile on her face. I cannot believe something as simple as that has made her so happy. At the end of the day, Emmeline has managed to do the steps correctly. She tells me many times how grateful she is for the help. After practice, I return to my room and retire to bed. I think about how happy Emmeline was. How can such small things make a person so happy? Ah, here's the mom scene.
You stepped out of rhythm again, Lucette.
Yes, Mother, this is really hard.
A princess never complains. You must perfect this waltz by tomorrow. Otherwise, I will not allow you to play with your dolls for the day.
But
if you have time for objections, you have time to push yourself harder.
If they have time to complain, they have time to run.
Now, once again from the top.
the following days are uneventful. Emmeline continues her dance lessons with Rod. Her steps are still far from perfect, but I can tell she has improved since my demonstration with Rod. Meanwhile, Rod still chooses to ignore me most of the time, though I have noticed that he is less cold than usual. At least he does not snap at me for being no good anymore. Though Delora is no longer assisting me, she insists on staying in my room more often. She says that there is something important she wants to investigate, and I cannot even guess what it might be. I prefer not having her around anyway, or her constant chattering makes it difficult to focus on anything. Right now I'm trying to figure out how I can achieve my first good deed. Almost 3 months have passed since I was first cursed, but I have yet to complete my first good deed. These are my thoughts as I head back to my sleeping quarters after dinner that night. Emmeline excused me long ago, insisting that I go on to my own room before she went to hers. I'm walking down the hallway when I notice Rod heading down a familiar path. I follow after him. Are you going to the margin? Rod jumps and turns around. Surprise on his face quickly fades into annoyance.
Don't do that again. And no, not today.
Since I came here, I found out that Rod occasionally sneaks out of the palace at night through the secret passageway to go to the margin. Even now, I am still confused as to why he goes there. He said before he had given up on breaking his curse, which makes me wonder why he still visits. It makes me also wonder why he would refuse to break his curse in the first place. Is he okay with being the way he is, or is his curse just really difficult to break? Why are you cursed, Rod?
I'm not answering that question.
Why? I cannot help you break your curse if you refuse to tell me anything.
I told you before, I do not need your help.
But I chose you as my partner. You will help me, and I help you. It's highly likely that breaking Rod's curse will also count for a good deed. Rod scowls at me and crosses his arms.
I'm afraid that isn't how this works at all.
The sound of footsteps keeps me from coming back with a retort. We both turn to see Sir Alcaster approaching us.
Prince Rod, good evening. Good evening, Sir Alcaster.
Sir Alcaster turns to me and raises an eyebrow.
Shouldn't you be attending Princess Emmeline?
Rod silences me with a look. He moves to stand in front of me, shielding me from Sir Alcaster's gaze.
We were just about to go to her. Let's go, Lucette.
Rod strides away and I quickly curtsy to Sir Alcaster before moving after Rod. I can still feel Sir Alcaster's eyes on my back as I walk away. I try my best to suppress a shudder. Rod and I walk through the hallway in silence. We both stop in our tracks when we hear the clattering of silverware. I turn around and realize that the sound has come from behind a set of doors that is slightly open. The dining hall? Oh no! That's Emmeline's voice. We do not see Emmeline when we enter the room, but there is a array of cutlery set out on the table.
Emmeline?
Emmeline surprises us both by crawling out from beneath the table. She flashes an embarrassing smile as she gets to her feet, holding several forks and knives in her hands.
What are you doing here? You should be getting ready for bed.
Sorry. I eye the silverware on the table. I thought I could practice before I sleep today. It's already been an incredibly long day for her, and she's still doing this? Watch as Emmeline puts the cutlery back onto the table in the wrong places.
You need to rest, Em.
I will after I practice the placement one last time. She smiles at me before returning to the table. I don't know why a person would need so much cutlery. 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife should be more than enough for any meal. And all these glasses, if I recall correctly, this one's for water, this one is for red wine, and this one is for white wine. Ooh, phrasing. I feel like correct answers?
I'm going with give her the correct answers.
Okay, that's
Give her
two
the correct answers.
That's
Yeah.
3. Alright.
I feel like that might be wrong, but it just seems weird to be like blood to her.
Charles is like point out her
Shut up.
mustache.
Shut up.
Oh my
Why
God.
are you here?
He likes fairy tales. It's fine.
Just here. Here's where these should go. Oh, by the way, you have a mustache.
Rod just smacks her over the head. That flute is for champagne. The other is for sherry. Oh, right. But there are 2 more. The other one is for juice, and the other glass is for dessert wine. And a dessert wine glass will only be used during the dessert course. Then juice glass is only used when the juice is being served as the course. Otherwise, it is placed next to the water goblet. I see. I see Rod staring at me out of the corner of his eyes. His lips twitch before he turns back to his sister. It looked like he was about to smile. Hey, right answer.
Thank God.
Then what are these for? Emmeline points to the group of forks in front of her. Use those every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Emmeline points at them as she rattles off names. Dinner fork, fish fork, salad. Correct. You know so much about etiquette too. You're really incredible, Lucette. You make a better noblewoman than I do. Even if I told her I was a noble, it's not as if she would believe me. I just read a lot about these things. You read and know enough to put them into practice? That's amazing. Especially since you haven't been with us so long. Right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He does not, much to my surprise, disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Lucette. I can learn so quickly from you. Emmeline quickly straightens out the cutlery. Now that I think about it, I have come to realize that Emmeline is much more than she appeared to be. It's probably because I'm forced to spend so much time with her as a maid. She is different. She is flawed and not as conceited and more humble than I had originally thought. Maybe I should try to lend her a hand. I may not be one of your tutors, but if you need help with your lessons, just ask me and I'll do what I can for you.
Lucette?
I glance at Rod, who is once again wearing that expression of surprise. I shift my attention to Emmeline once again. I only have 1 month left to prepare, and as your personal maid, I feel it's my responsibility to help you in whatever ways I can. Lucette! Emmeline wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and that's when I notice something glistening on her cheeks. Is she crying? You are extremely kind, Lucette. Thank you. I will definitely take you up on that offer. I'm still looking at Emmeline when I catch a faint glow coming from the pendant on my chest. What just happened? Bam. It's faster than any of the other lines, I think, so far.
It said it's been 3 months.
Never
Okay,
mind.
well, like, faster in the reading time.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that.
We did have a large time jump.
Oh, what a pretty necklace you have, Lucette. Thank you. Anyway, for now I think that both of us will benefit from some sleep. After escorting Emmeline back to her room, I walk out into the hallway in a daze. What was that light?
It seems like you actually managed to obtain your first good deed.
I did not know he was still here. I looked down at my pendant, astonished at what I see.
Oh my god.
Shoo! A piece of the glass slipper? I gingerly touch the new piece that's hanging next to my existing glass slipper pendant. It is real.
You're not too bad after all.
He looks weird when he
Whoa,
smiles.
smile.
Right? It's like, what the fuck? You're not scowling for once. Did he just compliment me? What?
Yeah, I learned it from Rumple.
Rod turns away.
Nothing.
Yeah, 4 out of 10. I've heard better.
He walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I need to take a quick bathroom break, so we're gonna do that.
I think that's a great time for a 5er, because I've been waiting on it.
Alright. Be right back. Where's my mute button? Here we go.
I'm gonna take this time and do something that I see Haku do a lot.
I'm back. Who else is back?
I never left.
Well.
I'm back.
Yay! I think we're just waiting on Dylan now. That's the first time I ever heard the end of that song. Okay, now I'm back again. Is everyone else back?
Yup.
Really? Okay.
Good time.
Still here.
Oop, okay, well, I guess I didn't have to make that little message. I thought you were going to be longer, so I just made a little message about us being back soon.
Yeah, my brother is telling me something about sleeping in the parking lot because the hotel's taunting him, and I'm like, huh? Alright.
If it wasn't Sam, I would question a lot more.
Yeah, I went and I told my dad. He's like, he's just being, and I'm like, he's just being Sam. He's like, yeah. He's an oddball. Alright.
If it was anyone else, I would question so much heavier. But it's Sam.
The kid's weird. Alright, here we go. Who wants to be the girl?
Anyone but me.
I can do it.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Highness. Would you like to play with us?
You want to play with me?
I can do that one. I haven't done a voice yet. Yeah, come play with us. We'll all have lots of fun.
Oh, that's a precious voice.
You're welcome.
Well,
Adorable. Shame.
It's just for a little while.
maybe I can...
Lucette, what are you doing here in front of the gates?
Mother!
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Wondering if the princess wants to come play with us.
Oh, we just had some activity. Oh, thank you for subbing, Charles.
No, Princess Lucette does not want to play with you.
But Mother, I do.
Enough idle chatter. We must go. It is almost time for your dance lessons.
But...
Lucette, do not make me repeat myself.
Yes, Mother. She just wants friends. Alright. It's still dawn when I wake up. As much as I want to continue sleeping, I have no choice but to get up and prepare for the day. The last thing I need is an annoying lecture from the head maid. I've almost become accustomed to waking up this early, even if I do not enjoy it. As soon as my preparations are made, I begin to make my way toward Emmeline's room, should she wake early. I'm about halfway there when I hear familiar voices, standing far ahead from your Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros.
Are you sure this is going to work?
Have a little faith in me, my friend.
Just because of that voice, I no longer can have faith. Friends? We are not friends.
Sir Alcaster narrows his eyes and turns abruptly to look at me.
Ah,
Ah,
Miss Lucette, was it?
Sir Mithros? Sir Alcaster?
have you been eavesdropping, child?
He has no reason to be angry at me. If they were talking about something confidential, they should have not been so openly talking in the hallway. I am on the way to Princess Emmeline's room, sir. That is why I am here. I coolly look at Sir Alcaster. It looks like he's about to pop a vein. I cannot help but feel satisfied at his reaction. In just a few steps, he's suddenly looming over me. I've never seen Sir Alcaster look so angry before.
What is going on?
Rod is now walking towards us with a scowl on his face. Sir Alcaster notices this and quickly steps back.
There was just a little misunderstanding, Your Highness.
Rod glances at me, his eyes narrowing. Great. I'm sure he's going to blame me for this too, even though I did nothing. Much to my surprise, Rod puts himself between me and Sir Alcaster.
Are you alright, Lucette?
Is he worried about me? I nod slowly. Rod turns back to Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros.
If you do not have any business with Lucette, I'll be taking her with me. Emmeline is already waiting for her.
Sir Alcaster stares at me for a few moments before bowing down my rod.
Of course, Your Highness. Thank you.
Rod turns to me again, his expression solemn.
Shall we?
He walks off before waiting for my reply. I look at Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros one last time after chasing him. Both of us spend the next few moments walking in silence. Rod has not said a thing since my encounter with Sir Mithros and Sir Alcaster.
Are you okay?
What? He already asked me that before. Is he really that worried?
Well, this doesn't give us much to go on.
No, why would it?
Show some weakness. I am not okay. Well, I can make you up. Ooh.
Okay, so Haku's for that
that's my
one.
thing.
I am
Show no
fine.
weakness. Show no mercy.
So we have 2 for I am fine? Is that what I'm hearing, Willie?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Dylan?
Feel like it would be more in character for her to say fine.
Okay, okay. Charles, what do you think if you're still in chat? Because I am literally torn between the two. I also have no idea how far behind the stream is either.
I think it's at this point.
Okay, Charles says I am
it's
not
at this
fine.
point.
Okay, Luna, are you still present? She might be AFK.
But at the same time, like, the other thing I'm thinking is if I'm not fine leads to her telling him about that conversation, I feel like he would appreciate that, because I'm sure he's suspicious of them. He is kind of the one that rats them out in the first place.
Okay, now Charles is saying
That's
power
fair.
play that I am fine. Alright. It seems majority is leaning towards fine, so I guess we'll go for that.
Yeah, sure. Let's
Alright,
give
I'm
it a
gonna
whirl.
save here just for now. Blah, boop. Alright, I'm fine. I'm surprised by the look at Rod's face at my response. His expression is soft, so unlike his usual scowl.
Rod here is pretty worried about you, Princess.
Rod glares at Sebi, his cheeks tinged pink.
Backstabbing son of a bitch.
Sebi chuckles. He's a plotting little plushie.
Sorry, Rod. Your thoughts ring so loudly in your mind, I can't help but say them out loud.
Oh, that was the right one, okay. This is not the first time Sebi has told me about Rod's thinking. Rod reaches out and pinches Sebi's face, his scowl returning.
Ow, ow, ow! I'm sorry, okay? But next time, try not to think too loudly.
That's such an
There's a
adorable.
sense.
That's such an adorable Sebi voice. You said that Emmeline was waiting for me. I did not expect her to be up so early. Where is she?
I lied.
What? You lied to help me out of that situation? Why are you helping me?
because while you're here, you are my responsibility. I may loathe the role, but I will still uphold it. Besides, you don't need a reason to help someone in need.
Help someone in need. I remember Parfait and Delora telling me before that being good often involved helping others who are in need.
Now that I've helped you, I'm taking my leave now. I have fencing lessons to attend to.
Rod starts to walk off, but then stops and turns back to me.
Don't let yourself get into more trouble. I won't be there all the time to save you.
I glare at him and cross my arms. I'm not a damsel in distress, Your Highness. I do not need your help. Rod snorts before turning away from me and walking away.
I have to go build my gun.
Later that day, I watch Emmeline finish her etiquette lessons. I can tell that the teacher is impressed with her progress. Emmeline is able to correctly name all the glasses and cutlery. She's not so slow a learner. I come here earlier in the day to better teach Emmeline about proper dining etiquette. It turns out that my lesson was valuable. Who wants to be the teacher?
Go, Haku, go!
Do it.
Go, Haku, go!
I'm gonna do what?
I don't have to be
Go,
three
Haku.
people in a conversation with myself.
Oh,
Go, Haku!
to do a female voice.
Yeah.
You have shown great improvement, Your Highness.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
See, you're fine.
I'm glad that you have been diligent with your studies. No doubt you'll be ready for the ball soon.
Emmeline smiles, her cheek turning pink. But thank you. I wouldn't have able to done it without the help of a friend. Emmeline glances at me briefly and smiles gently. I owe her a lot.
That is wonderful. I'm so glad you have such a dedicated friend, Your Highness.
Friend? Is that really what I am to her? But princesses do not have maids as friends. A royal does not mingle with commoners, especially not with servants. Mother told me that before. Emmeline does not treat me as a maid, but she cannot possibly think of me as a friend. After the teacher gives Emmeline several books to study for their next lesson, she ends the lesson and excuses herself. Emmeline approaches me and grasps my hands. Thank you so much, Lisette. I couldn't have passed without your help. All I did was repeat the things your teacher taught you. But you're different. I raised an eyebrow at her. Different? I tend to get nervous in my lessons. My teachers are strict and intimidating. I cave beneath the pressure. But with you, well, I feel more comfortable around you. It's probably because we're almost the same age and your lessons feel more casual. So thank you. I'm very grateful for you. She looks down at the ground shyly. I hope it's alright that we're friends. I furrow my eyebrows at her. Why would you even want to be friends with a maid? You're supposed to be making friends with nobles, not the servants. Emmeline frowns, and I can feel her deflate. She walks towards the window and sighs. I tried. They may not say anything, but I can feel them silently judging me. I wasn't born a princess, and I feel they judge everything that I do. They think that I smile too much, and I'm not regal enough. They feel that I'm too clumsy or too cheerful. Well, Emmeline definitely does not act like a noble. I cannot say I blame the nobles for being skeptical of her. Being with them suffocates me. I do my best to act like a princess, but the way they all look at me, it's as if they're waiting for me to make a mistake. Then they'll have an excuse to jeer at me. Every girl dreams of becoming a princess, and yet, this is not my dream. I really just miss being a normal girl. I miss my freedom. I look at her, thoughtful. I think I can understand what Emmeline is feeling. Just like me, she was thrown into a world she was not ready to be a part of. Right now, we have no choice but to fit in. She never wanted my title in the first place, yet I accuse her of stealing it. Have you told your mother how you feel? Emmeline shakes her head. No, not the king either. I don't want them to think I'm ungrateful. That's why I'm trying my best to get accustomed to all of this. I cross my arms. But you are not happy. I'm not. Everyone just assumes that I'm happy because I smile a lot. She barely opens up to anyone, and yet she opens up to me. I've been given the choice before I was cursed. I would never have listened to her. You should just tell them how you feel rather than keeping it to yourself. Otherwise, the stress will continue to accumulate on your shoulders. I wish I could be more honest with them. I really do. I envy you for being able to speak your mind. She envies me? Emmeline takes a deep breath and sighs. The frown fades with the sigh and is quickly replaced by a fragile smile. I'm sorry for ranting at you like that. I've bored you with my story. I used to get so annoyed with her, but now that I've seen this side of her, I suppose she's not as terrible as I first thought. Oh! I remember Mother wanted to see me after my lessons today. Allow me to escort you to the Queen, then. Thank you. I'm kinda sus.
It's interesting to me that, honestly, she spends so much more time with Emmeline than she does Rod, and it's Rod's storyline. Like, he isn't really
Actually,
around.
Emmeline's
Plot twist, you're gay for Emmeline.
I was literally about to make the joke, and then Angiel had its first two ruling queens.
The one
Hey,
who
there's
wished to
time
be
for
a
everything.
normal girl, and the other that's like, fuck peasantry. Days pass without any real conflict. I run to Sir Alcaster again in the hallways, but his eyes pass over at me as if I am something to be ignored. Delora, who's been ignoring me as she has been busy with other things, with other priorities. I don't know why my brain couldn't process that word for a second. Returned to the Martian yesterday to discuss something important with Parfait. It's not as if she has been any help since she came here. She mostly stays in my room while I run around doing errands for Emmeline and taking in other chores as they are handed to me. Right now I'm headed to the palace gates as I hurry to meet Emmeline. She's going out of town to meet Viorica again, and I was told to meet her here.
Lucette.
I turn around and see Fritz walking my direction. Ever since I told him to refer to me by my name, he has been stumbling over not using my title. I rarely see him, but when I do, we do not have much time to discuss anything. Can I help you with anything, Fritz?
It's been a while. Have you managed to complete one of your good deeds?
I guess she filled them in. Days after I originally ran into Fritz, I managed to have a quick conversation with him regarding my curse.
There you go.
It's been a long time since the conversation happened. Recently, I've barely even seen Fritz. I hear rumors that he's been reassigned somewhere outside the palace. I show him my pendant and point to the piece of the second glass slipper. I managed to get one several days ago.
Lucette, that's wonderful. I knew you could get one. Man, am I gonna feel bad when I die.
Fritz is so wholesome.
He
Again.
is! We're doing him after Rod, so all the wholesome.
Yeah, like, I really like him. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, even though Waltz is my favorite, Fritz is probably my favorite story, because whether it's the good or the bad ending, it's really good either way. Like, yeah,
I
it's
just
done
want him
nicely.
to not die for once.
Ow.
Ooh.
Yeah, but we'll see. I only have 2 more, and then I can break this curse.
Ah, Fritz. Miss Lucette. I did not think that the two of you were acquainted.
We both turn our heads at the same time when Mithras suddenly appears from around the corner, the usual smile on his lips.
Sir Mithros.
Fritz, I believe Sir Alcaster is looking for you.
No, Fritz, don't leave her alone with him. I don't trust him.
Right, sorry. Lucette? I must take my leave now.
Of course. Fritz bows to Sir Mithros before walking off, leaving me alone with Sir Mithros. Mithros does not say anything, but continues to smile at me. His staring makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Is there something on Is there something on my face? There's something on your face. Excuse me.
There's something on your face. It was pain.
I curtsy and start to walk off when Sir Mithras calls my name.
Lucette.
Yes? Fritz is a trustworthy guy. It's fine. No, it's not Fritz that I'm worried about, Charles. It's Mithras. I mean,
No,
look at that
it's-
face. Look at it.
No, it's Fritz.
Look at if I could like
Voiced
zoom
by
in
me.
somehow.
That tells you how trustworthy this guy is.
I mean, you've voiced a couple possibly
Okay, yeah, I
trustworthy.
was saying, you say that, but you also voiced Karma, who is like literally one of the most like noble people in this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for your hard work and dedication to our princess.
I
Yeah,
look
he
at
sounds
him.
like such a fucking snake.
I mean, his hair's green. I look at him, puzzled by his sudden gratitude.
Don't worry. Everything will soon be remedied.
Excuse me?
My apologies. I did not mean to keep you.
He completely ignores my question. He dips his head slightly before turning and walking away, the smile still on his face. What was that all about?
Aki, the little extra chuckles you throw in there make it all the better.
It really does, and it kind of terrifies me.
It's perfect! Rod and Emmeline are already waiting for me outside the carriage by the time I arrive at the palace gates. Rod has his arms crossed and looks at me irritable. His face is perpetually stuck in that scowl, it seems.
You're late.
My apologies. You're so grumpy, but you've been late many times before too, Rod. Rod just shrugs his shoulders as he turns and heads into the carriage. Emmeline sighs before looking at me. Shall we? Of course. Three of us sit in silence as the carriage rolls towards town. The knight assigned to guard duty is sitting out front with the driver, watching for any disturbances. Emmeline glances forlornly out one window, while Rod silently looks out the other as he rests his chin on the palm of his hand. I notice Emmeline pauses to glance at Rod every now and then, looking restless. Finally, she breaks the silence. Are you still mad that I asked you to come along to visit Viorca? You could have declined the invitation, Rod. And if you would only tell me what happened between the two of you, I would do my best to remedy the situation. Rod notices me looking at him and scowls. He returns his moody gaze to the window.
I have nothing to say,
But you used to be good friends with Viorca too, Rod. And then ever since you were... Emmeline stops herself, knowing what she's referring to as curse. After that day, you kept your distance from her. Then when you found out about the wedding, you became even colder towards her.
Oh.
Even Viorca is worried about you, Rod. She worried that she might have offended you somehow.
Oh. I think I figured it out. Emmeline,
There's a hint of warning in his tone. Is it possible that Viorca is related to Rod's curse, considering the timing? Emmeline opens her mouth again to say something, but then suddenly stops and turns to the window, her expression mirroring Rod's own gloom. We are all silent until we arrive at the toy shop.
Emmeline, good to see you again. And you too. Lucette, was it?
I nodded in acknowledgement. Viorca nods politely to the knight, who stands guard at the shop door.
It's just the two of you today?
Emmeline and I both turn to see that Rod has indeed vanished. Emmeline frowns, looking both bewildered and disappointed. He was right behind us. I will go look for him. Thank you, Lucette. Just as I expected, Rod is leaning against the wall of an alley just outside the toy shop.
Oh,
I am really not sure about this one.
I'm kind of feeling stay. Because, I mean, Well, then again, Delora did want you to talk to him. I'm kind of feeling stay, because I kind of feel like just being a presence might help. I don't know. I'm gonna vote stay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2 for
Yep.
stay. 3.
I'll go as stay.
Charles also says stay, and that seems they'll be the majority anyways, so we'll go with that. I can tell by Rod's stiff posture that anything I say to him will fall on deaf ears, so I move to stand next to him instead. I lean against the wall with him.
What are you doing?
Being an edgelord.
Charles, there is no time. Dylan. Charles, it's no time for butts. We already clicked the button. I'm keeping you company? Rod raises an eyebrow at me.
Since when have you ever liked my company?
Well, I'd rather be here than stay inside the toy shop listening to Emily and Viorca talk.
So you're not here to try to get me to talk?
Well, it's not as if you would answer any of my questions. I've tried forcing you to talk and I know how ineffective it is. But I'll be here if you do want to talk. Rod eyes me suspiciously.
Since when do you start listening to others?
Nice. When are you the personal mate of someone who enjoys talking, you learn to listen.
That's fair. Emmeline has been happier these past few months. I hate to admit it, but it seems to be because of you.
Are you actually praising me? Rod looks away, his cheeks tinted pink.
Think whatever you'd like.
I do not know why, but for some reason I'm happy that Rod gave me a compliment.
Princess Lucette.
Oh, hey, Walt.
In the background,
Hey!
In the background, Rumple is cheering Rod on for compliments. Rod and I turn at the sound of the
cool.
familiar voice. Waltz pauses in
The only
front
thing
of
that
us.
Sorry.
You're
Okay.
up to 5 out of 10. Good job.
Waltz pauses
The
in
only
front
thing
of
that
us
would
with a
make this
bright
work.
smile.
Only thing that could make this worse is Waltz, Rod, and Alcaster
And
all
Fred.
having a conversation. All having a conversation.
That would be beautiful.
I would hate it.
I'm just trying to picture Waltz in the conversation, and I feel like it's either gonna be Rod and Alcaster going off, and Waltz is just judging them, or it's gonna be Waltz and
Actually, it'd
bleh.
probably be Waltz, Fritz, and Rod.
yeah, it sounds more likely.
And I would hate that day.
Give it a minute.
It's nice to see you again, Princess.
Waltz, what are you doing here?
Well, I was about to deliver a letter to the prince, but I guess that won't be necessary anymore. A letter? Is Lady Parfait asking for me? Not just you. She wants to see the princess as well.
Me? It's been a while since I was last at the merchant.
Is something wrong? They need to discuss something important with the princess. Come to the merchant tonight.
Tonight? But we're already here, so why not now? Waltz's eyes shift to our carriage.
You are here with Princess Emmeline, yes? You can't make her wait too long. What they need to discuss with you is complicated, and will take some time to explain.
The toy shop door opens and Emmeline stands in the doorway as she says her goodbyes to Viorca.
Remember, tonight.
Oh, not the 5th of November? Okay. And there are Waltz's last words before he slips back into the crowd. Emmeline's visit with Viorca was briefer than I thought it would be. Now all of us are headed back to the palace. Rada has not uttered a word on her way back. I can tell that this is making Emmeline agitated, as she continues to keep glancing at Rod expectantly. If you have anything to say, say it. Emmeline stares at me. You obviously want to say something to Prince Rod. The only way to get your answers is to ask him directly. Rod does not turn around. It's as if he does not hear me. Emmeline clasps her hands and sighs. Well, I glance at Rod, who still persistently stares out the window, his eyes focused on nothing.
Lies. His eyes are closed.
He's pretending not to hear us. How immature. Maybe he has thin eyelids. Don't judge.
Okay, in his defense,
Maybe
he's
they're little
15.
slits. Rod,
True, he is right at that age.
Viorica was sad that you weren't there today. She was certain that you stayed outside to avoid seeing her. What's going on with you?
I'm not in the mood to answer your questions, Em.
Emmeline grips the edges of her dress, her expression becoming more rigid. You've been keeping secrets from us ever since you were cursed. We don't even know why you were cursed or how to help you break it. Wait, the rest of the family doesn't know anything about the circumstances of Rod's curse? I had thought he had told them everything, but all they know is that he's cursed? We're a family. We're supposed to help each other through out problems. Emmeline's hands are shaking as she gazes at her brother. The carriage stops as soon as the servant opens the door. Emmeline quickly steps out and rushes back toward the palace. Rod watches her go quietly, though his eyebrows are furrowed and he looks guilty. I silently shake my head at him before running after Emmeline. Emmeline stands in the hallway with her hands on her chest. She breathes slowly in and out as if she's on the verge of tears. When she notices me beside her, she turns away and wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I'm sorry for storming off like that. I was just very frustrated at Rod. I said something I shouldn't have said back there. And if anyone finds out about this, they won't. Your secret is safe with me. Emmeline flashes a grateful smile before looking at the sky. One moment, Rod is running down the hallway. The next, he has stopped in front of us and is trying to catch his breath.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, Rod, but right now, I would like to be alone.
Of course.
I'm sorry, Lucette. Could you leave me for now? She doesn't even wait for my answer before walking away, leaving me alone with Rod. You made her cry, Rod.
I'm fully aware of that.
Why are you hiding your curse from your family?
You wouldn't understand.
Just one note. I think I understand his curse.
I
Just
think
because I know the story of the Little Mermaid.
Same.
I think I do
The
too.
original Little Mermaid's a really fucked up story, so I totally understand what's going
It
on.
really is.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Actually,
remember the
yeah.
finer details, but I know one of them.
I don't know the original story, so I'm honestly still pretty.
Okay. Well, we can tell you after the stream if you want.
Either way, it don't
Yeah,
matter.
let's just say that the original Little Mermaid story is very sad. It's a tragedy story. It is
Yeah,
in a
it's
way-
sad.
They always are.
It is like one of the worst ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally have an idea of what he's supposed to do and why he's like, nope, not gonna do that. Can't do it.
I'm doing this to protect them.
Protect them. Rod silently shakes his head.
They wouldn't understand.
Those are the last ominous words Rod speaks before rushing off, leaving me alone in the hall. What happened to him? Like, I legit can't remember the finer details of his curse or how he did it. I just know one detail, I think.
Do you know the story of the Little Mermaid?
I do. Well, I've played all the routes before, but I vaguely, very, very barely remember what his story is at all. Like, the
Would you
conditions.
want me to say the story of the Little Mermaid, or
We're gonna
save
do.
it
We'll do
because
that
it's
off.
spoiler?
We'll do it off stream.
Okay.
Alright. The hallways are silent at the time of night as most everyone in the palace prepares for bed. I'm familiar with the original story too, so. Alright. I'm now on my way to our meeting place. Rod told me earlier to wait here for him. I thought that he'd make me go to the merchant by myself after what transpired with Emmeline, but I was wrong. Emmeline was so upset today. I've never seen her like this before. I turned my thoughts back to the merchant and to what Walt said earlier. I wonder what Parfait wants to talk with us about it. I feel my heart beating erratically against my chest. Why do I feel like something bad is going to happen? I realized that I've been staying in the open for a while. Perhaps I should move. People might find me standing here suspicious. I start walking again and am surprised when I feel a hand close around my wrist and pull me into the darkness. I open my mouth, but a hand muffles my scream. Wow, it's a typical Willy move. Rod? Rod's gaze is icy. He speaks quietly, but I can feel the anger simmering beneath his words.
What if someone saw you just standing there? Have you ever even thought about how they might get suspicious?
His tone is so accusatory that for a moment I cannot find my voice. But then he is right. I should have been more careful. Sorry. Rod stares at me surprised. What?
I never thought I'd hear you apologize, especially to me.
Oh? Well, at least I know how to apologize, unlike you.
And why would I ever have a reason to apologize to you?
Because you've done nothing but treat me coolly, even when I have done nothing but to personally attack you. Rod scowls at me but does not say anything. Instead, he sighs and takes my hand, pulling me after him. Wait, what?
Let's go before the guards see us.
I have no energy to argue with Rod, so I allow him to pull me along.
I'm sorry.
What? He apologized to me?
Don't make me repeat myself.
I did not hear you clearly.
Now she's rubbing it in. If there's one thing I know about you, is that you're not deaf.
Of course I'm not.
Someone will hear you.
I glare at Rod, but he does not respond.
Princess, your hand is really warm.
Rod freezes in place and glares at
Oh my
Sebi, who
God.
seems to be shrugging.
That fucking troll ass bunny.
Your thoughts are too loud, Rod.
Through the dim lights, I can actually see a faint blush on Rod's cheeks. You are blushing.
I am not.
He lets go of my hand and starts to walk towards the secret passage, with me trailing behind him. We look around to make sure no one's in sight before we both slip inside. I follow closely behind Rod in silence, my eyes moving upward to the little bunny plush hanging on his shoulders. Sebi, I've been wondering, have you ever talked of Rod's family as yourself? Rod suddenly stops and scowls over his shoulder at me. What? I'm asking Sebi, not you.
No, I don't, Princess. Rod doesn't want me to talk to others since he thinks that I might say something unnecessary. So much for that. You'll still speak even when it is unnecessary.
In the dim lights in the tunnel, I think I see a faint pink in Rod's cheeks. It's probably a trick of the strange lighting. Rod is right. Sebi has blurted out his thoughts more than a number of times. I feel like we might want to side with him on that, but I'm not sure.
I don't
I like
know.
The first one? Okay.
It's sassy. I like it.
Charles is also voting for that one.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's like 4. That seems to be majority. Alright. You're not doing a very good job. Seppi size.
How can I not when Rod is here? Rod here is thinking too loudly. Makes my head ache.
You get headaches?
That's not the point. The point is that when he thinks on something too long, his head becomes cloudy and really full. It's going to explode. That's what I got to explain for him. He's not good at expressing his thoughts, so I...
Rod cut Subby off by pinching his cheeks.
Ow! Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Rod sighs and continues walking. Rod, have you spoken of Emmeline since that earlier incident?
No.
As much as I want to ask him again about his curse, I doubt he will divulge anything right now. I decided to keep my thoughts to myself as we head for the Marchen. When we arrive at the Marchen, Parfait and Delora are there to welcome us. The others, however, are nowhere in sight. Ah, it's been a while, Princess. Thank you for bringing her here safely, Prince Rod. Where is everyone? They're all resting in their rooms now. It wasn't necessary that they be here for what Delora and I want to discuss with you.
I will be staying in the tavern then.
Rod is about to head up for the tavern when Delora stops him.
You don't have to leave. What we're going to say involves you too, since you're staying at the palace. Well,
Rod looks at her curiously, but asks no questions. Parfait and Delora gesture us over to the settee, where we all take our seats. This is something Rod and I must know because we're in the palace. I have a bad feeling about this. Before we start, I would like to congratulate you on your first good deed, Princess. Delora told me about it, and I can see the extra piece on your necklace as well. Parfait smiles at me, her eyes filled with pride. Her faith in me rekindles the dwindling confidence I had. If only you'd seen how happy If only you'd seen how happy Delora was when she announced it to us.
you didn't have to go into specifics, Parfait.
Who's blushing now? Oh, are you embarrassed, Delora? She smiles at Delora teasingly before turning back to me. Anyway, I know you can do it, Princess. Only 2 more to go and you can break your curse.
Yeah, keep up the good work, Princess. And you too, Rod.
So what is it you wanted to discuss with us?
I conducted a little investigation while I was with Lucette. I tried.
I conducted a little
Investigation. While I was with Lucette in the palace, and I found out something important.
Something important? Did she stutter?
I discovered that there is a witch in the palace.
A witch? In the palace?
Burn the witch.
I felt a tinge of magic while I was there. It was faint, but definitely there. I don't remember feeling it before when I was there as your doll, Princess. It seems that the witch is using a glamour to hide himself or herself from us.
A glamour is magic only very experienced witches can cast, which means the witch we're dealing with is no ordinary witch. They have the potential to be very powerful. But what would a witch be doing in the palace in the first place?
Why?
This witch could be after the king, but
But what? Parfait and Delora glance at each other, looking conflicted. It is Parfait who faces me first, her expression grave. I'm afraid there is some other possibility we must make you aware of, Princess. In order for us to explain it, we must give you the truth.
To have this conversation again. Oh,
Chapter
boy.
6! Now we have raw Dutch
read-
reactions.
I read that as moping closer, and I was really confused.
We're
Yeah, I
gonna
read that as mobbing.
we're gonna mope really close to each other, guys. You ready?
Obviously.
The truth? My only answer is silence. I shift my gaze to Rod, but he avoids my eyes. What's going on?
Princess, it is very likely that this witch in the palace is looking for you.
What? I cast the glamour on you long ago so you can remain hidden from magical eyes. I did it to protect you, but this witch in question could see through the spell I've cast on you. It's my belief that they are actively looking for you. I close my eyes and massage the temples of my head as I feel a headache coming on. Wait, you said before that witches want to see their curses unbroken, but this sounds as if they have another motive altogether. What reasons could they have for trailing me? The Tenenbaum has been without a bearer for a long time, ever since the end of the war. A new bearer, however, will soon arise and the crystal is ready to support them. Some of the witches, the wicked ones, want to make sure that the Tenenbaum continues to spread darkness, even with its new bearer in charge. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? Delora crosses her arms, expression grim.
The title of the bearer is passed down from one descendant to the next. Princess, the last Tenenbaum bearer was the late queen of... I don't know how to say it.
Angiel is probably.
Angiel?
Yeah.
Angiel. Your mother.
I feel my blood go cold. What?
Wait.
As you are the queen's daughter, you are the next heir. Come your 18th birthday, you will inherit the title of Tenenbaum bearer.
Mother? A witch? Impossible! Why would you spout such lies? I narrow my eyes at them, searching for some hint that they are lying to me. Delora and Parfait never turn their sad eyes away from me. Rod glances at me briefly before turning away, looking uncomfortable. Hildur, your mother and I used to work together to maintain balance, but then the witch hunt drove her mad and turned her heart to ice. But she never used any magic. I would have known if she was a witch. It's possible that you did in the past, but then it seems she erased all your memories of her true identity. Laura was already able to ascertain that most of your memories of her have been snatched away. Hildur needed you to remain obedient so that when you finally did inherit her role as the bearer, you would continue to do as she wanted. My thoughts feel as if they are spinning endlessly on an axis.
The real reason I cursed you was to see if you were truly capable of goodness, Princess. Hildur's influence clung to you even after her death, and we feared that you would continue her previous work. That Angeli might once again fall to darkness if you were not able to help the dark emotions in your heart.
So you cursed me because you were terrified of what I would do if I became the bearer I was. My only answer is silence. Now I understand why the people hated me. It was because I am my mother's daughter. I cannot help but reach out to touch the pendant on my necklace as a feeling of dread washes over me. We know there is a goodness in you, Princess. We only want you to realize it by breaking your curse. Parfait sighs, looking guilty. It was a selfish act on our part, I know. But we could not risk another great war. They believed that I would have plunged the world into a war? I turned to Rod, who has yet to speak since the conversation started. Did you know about all of this?
Everyone knows the story of the Tenenbaum witch and her daughter.
Everyone except for me. I glanced down at my hands, suddenly feeling numb. I am a witch, and I will become the Tenenbaum's next bearer. Just the thought of it makes me sick. I think back to my childhood. I can still recall the glares that everyone gave me when I was a child. They were scared of me because I was my mother's daughter. And what about the king? Did he never love me because I was the daughter of a witch? But if that was the case, if my mother was so wicked, then why did the king marry her in the first place?
Hildur threatened to kill the woman that he loved if he did not marry her. She threatened to kill Ophelia.
Ophelia? So the king has loved Ophelia from the very beginning? I clenched my hands into tight fists. After mother died, he was able to reunite with his true love, and since then he has treated Emmeline and Rod better than he has ever treated me, even though I'm his daughter by blood. I want to feel angry about this revelation, but instead I feel a dreary emptiness inside me. A heavy feeling begins to settle my chest, suffocating my heart. He never really loved me.
Like that.
Rod's voice snaps me on my thoughts, and that's when I realize a stray tear has made its way down my cheek. I quickly wipe it away with the back of my hand, angry at myself for showing weakness in front of them. You must be happy to see me like this.
What?
Your mother was made queen and your sister have become royals overnight. It's like something of a fairy tale, isn't it? You thought you had the perfect life until I came back into it.
I never asked for this to happen. I just wanted to...
Rod suddenly moves his hand to Sebby's mouth, muffling whatever other words the plush was going to say for him.
Smart. He's learning.
He's like, I got this. I'm going to say it myself. What is it you want to say, Rod?
It's nothing.
So much for progress.
I can assure you, however, that the power that comes with the crown has always been irrelevant to my family and I. So stop assuming that everyone around you is after your title or your riches. Did your time with my sister not teach you anything?
I'm about to angrily retort when I suddenly stop, my heart sinking. I've already recognized that Emmeline is more complex than I thought she was, and she also told me that she never wanted to be a princess.
My mother wouldn't have married a king if my father was still here.
Delora looks between the two of us and sighs.
And here I thought your relationship had improved. Now it seems like we're back to square one.
I cross my arms and turn away, annoyed. Do you have anything else to add, Parfait? If not, I would like to return to the palace. Princess, stay vigilant and be careful who you trust. Trust? How do you know whom I trust? And what makes you think I trust you? The anger that I was expecting earlier suddenly rises to the surface. For all I know, Parfait and Delora could be feeding me lies, playing with me the way Delora did when she first cursed me. I didn't expect you to believe what we've told you. Perhaps it was not yet the right time to reveal everything to you, but please, you need to be careful. I stand up and look at them. My arms are hanging limply at my sides. How am I meant to trust anyone when all of you have been lying to me this entire time? What's that?
If you don't believe us, then try asking the king who Hildur truly is.
I never thought about asking the king about Mother.
Rod, you should watch your back too. It's possible that this witch in question could be plotting something against the royal family as well. They have been in the palace for a long time, after all.
She looks at me, isn't it, Rod? Her expression somber.
I won't be able to stay with you anymore. I had to pick up and leave a few days ago because I was certain he'd caught a trace of my magic. He probably already has.
I understand.
Anyway, Lisette is right to return to the palace now. Someone may have noticed your absence if you're gone much longer. You two should leave now.
Let us know if you notice anything unusual.
I will.
We'll see you again soon, Princess. Remember, stay vigilant.
It's pretty good.
Rod and I leave the marchand in silence. Here in the secret tunnels, we are suffocating under even more silence, but neither of us makes an effort to speak. I'm still stuck inside my own mind, sifting through my troubled thoughts. I cannot reconcile the fact that the wicked witch who led the witches during the war was my mother. I didn't even realize how many people hated my mother until she had passed away and I spoke about how cruel a queen she was. I never understood why, since she had always been the perfect person in my eyes. I never connected my mother with the Cinderella bearer, but what profane lord just told me makes sense. Was I living a lie all those years? A lie that my mother crafted so that I remained cold and bitter even after she passed away? And the Lord Parfait said that I'm meant to inherit the power of the Tenenbaum from my mother. I do not want that burden. I almost bump into Rod's back when he suddenly stops walking. He turns around and looks at me with a serious expression. I cannot help but feel judged beneath the weight of that gaze. Are you going to tell me that you never wanted me as your partner because my mother was a witch, then?
I wasn't going to say that.
What?
I won't lie. The first time I saw you, I thought you were like my mother. You were cold, harsh, and selfish. I never wanted to have anything to do with you. That is why I was so against this partnership. But you've changed.
Oh, there's that weird smile again.
So,
Ah,
Miles.
So, what? Okay. Rod's expression softens.
as you and Em have grown closer, I've seen that you're not like your mother. She speaks fondly of you, and I can tell she really enjoys your company. That's why, even if I do not have plans to break my curse, I will still do what I can to help you break yours. It's the least I can do as your partner.
I stare at Rod in shock. This is the first time he's ever been so nice to me.
Well, why are you staring at me like that? I'm only doing this because you're important to my sister.
Rod turns
Sure.
away, his face beet red.
Liar.
Rat.
Rod reaches up to pinch Sebby's face.
No.
Rat.
Compliment him, thank him. I'm thinking thank?
I kind of want... As per our favorite, everyone's definite favorite character, we need to compliment him as per Rumple's teachings.
That is true. I would do that if I were actually here.
See?
But you took the boring route. But screw it. I'll say compliment.
Alright, it's 2 compliments, 1 thank. Any other input?
I'll go for compliment.
Compliment.
Alright.
Charles
Oh my
also
god,
says
you only get
compliment.
16 health.
Out of curiosity, what would you vote for, Haku?
I have no idea what just happened. Sorry about that.
I would say thank.
You're good.
Thank?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see if majority or minority is correct. Compliment him. Who would have thought that you were actually capable of being nice?
Ooh, that's
Oh!
That was a
Wow.
in her
Wow.
defense,
She didn't have Rumple.
this is without her having Rumple's teachings.
Yep.
Wow.
Ouch.
It's like I expected the compliment to go wrong, but really, Lucette?
I'm gonna take it that's probably strike 2, so we got 1 more.
Was that supposed to be a compliment?
Yes, you're always so grumpy. I didn't even think I'd see a genuine smile on your face before.
I can say the same for you. If that's the right path, I'm gonna be.
I'd be
Astonished, but it's funny.
confused. Yeah, I think that's the wrong one, and so we have 1 more, and then it's the bad ending.
Yeah, see?
We'll see. Birds of a feather flock together then. Rod stares at me dumbfounded. I cannot help but smile a little at his expression. Do you really dislike the fact that we're so similar? Rod is still staring at me, wide-eyed.
You just smiled.
I did not?
Thinks your smile's pretty.
Aww. Oh, it is the right one.
Ooh.
Oh shit!
Why?
Well, Haku and I were wrong.
I do
can't-
not.
That awkwardness.
I just imagine Semi like, "Hey kids, you want me to really learn you something? Puberty's a bitch. Have fun with it."
I disagree. I think Sebi would say something along the lines of, "You guys want to learn something funny? You can only take 16 hits." I legitimately made Rod a character on D&D Beyond, and I'm looking at it.
Actually?
Yeah.
Okay then.
There was a long point where I just didn't do anything in my own lines, so I'm like, I'm gonna make Rod in D&D. Fuck it.
Now the temptation to make fun.
Alright, the line.
Way ahead of you, Dalen.
Make sure his constitution is trash.
Duh.
Anyway.
I do not. You two. You two really are the same.
I take a deep breath to calm the erratic beating of my heart. Anyway, I still want to help you with the curse, Rod. Why do you refuse to break it? Rod stares down at his feet, expression melancholy.
Because I cannot.
Rod stops and shakes his head. He says nothing else, and I do not probe him anymore, especially not after seeing the distant look on his face. I don't think he tells us till literally the last chapter. We walk through the corridor and back to our rooms after we say our goodbyes. I wonder what Rod was going to say. Mother, look! Eleanor got me this gift!
Eleanor,
She's my maid and my friend.
princesses do not make friends with their servants.
But she's really nice. She even taught me how to braid my hair, like...
Those servants are only nice to you because you are the princess. They only pretend to be your friends so that they can have power over you.
But Eleanor would never...
What reason do I have to lie to you?
Every reason.
When have I ever lied to you, little one?
You have never lied to me.
That is correct. Tomorrow I will remedy the situation. I will hire a new maid. You are not to befriend this one, no matter what she says.
But, Mother...
Are you arguing with me, Lucette?
No, I am sorry, Mother. It has been days since Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity and the inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turn 18. I've been trying to ask the king about Mother, but he's even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. The fact that I'm a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. When I'm not on break, I continue to do my duty serving Emmeline. Right now, I am accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia has been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds.
I know how hard this is, dear. I had to go through this training as well before I married the king.
Emmeline allows her shoulders to slouch as she lets out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I had thought my posture was fine. This is supposed to refine it, and yet all these lessons seem to have been doing is hurting my back.
Oh, Emmeline, you'll get the hang of this. You just need to keep practicing.
But Mother, I've had the same lesson before. Why must I do it again?
Because you slouch when you walk, and that is unbecoming of a princess.
Emmeline scowls at her mother, and Ophelia's frown falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother! You're not helping! The atmosphere in the room is far from heavy as Emmeline and her mother continue to conduct their lessons. It's almost the exact opposite of the lessons I had with Mother. Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistakes.
I know this is hard, but as the crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people there will judge any small mistake you make, which is why you need to be in top form on that night.
I know. Ophelia claps her hands.
Alright, now to start again.
Emmeline groans before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts a book on her head, and begins to walk again. The book falls from her head on her third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts to process again. Neither of us break Emmeline's concentration by speaking. We stand idly by and watch as she tries time and time again. I'm surprised when Ophelia leans towards me and begins to whisper.
Lucette, I'd been meaning to say this before, but I am grateful that you are friends with my daughter.
I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be your friend. You are not against the princess making friends with her servants?
Why would I be? I actually wish more of the staff here wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Emmeline to be on good terms with the people who serve her. Besides, social status is never an obstacle of friendship.
Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Emmeline, who is now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head.
No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. You've given Emmeline the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you're like family, since you're always around us.
Like family.
Come what may, both family and friends are there for you and will accept you for who you are.
Even before I was cursed, Emmeline was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wanted to be my friend. Thought makes me remember what Parfait told me about Mother threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turned to Ophelia, curious. I'm alive. Alright. Your Majesty, may I ask you about the late Queen's rule? Ophelia looks at me quizzically, so I quickly add a thoughtless lie. I was not in Angel and have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe with how peaceful things are in the palace right now.
The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over Angel. Witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse incessantly and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed.
Mother's reign was that terrible?
The king still blames himself for the darkness that befell Angel during that time. This is why he works day in and out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue to work hard for his kingdom was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his children.
Ophelia looks confused for a few moments, then brushes off the awkwardness with a small chuckle.
He helps the family in his own way.
Is it possible that he said that with me in mind? In Ophelia's slip-up? But then maybe he was always referring to Emily and Rod.
The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There are still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we are experiencing right now will last.
I see. Thank you for telling me.
It is a bit of a dreary topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. I know it may not be traditional protocol for a queen, but then I do not consider myself a typical queen. I try my best to listen to everyone here, regardless of what their title or name might be.
I can only nod at her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She's always treated me with kindness, regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I was always so distant from everyone. But I now see that Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness, regardless of social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they compared Ophelia to Mother, saying she was superior. But now, I think I understand why they would make such comparisons. Emmeline dismisses me after my lessons, and I begin to head immediately back to my room. I have turned the corner when I notice Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling.
Watch where you're going, child.
I quickly avert my gaze, not wanting a confrontation. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind, or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster nods his head at me stiffly before walking off.
You are pardoned, princess.
What? Did someone tell
He
him,
slipped.
or?
He slipped. He said the word he wasn't supposed to say.
He knows!
He probably always knew, but no,
Yeah,
he
we did
accidentally said
before.
it.
You revealed that in Karma's storyline too.
Well, I thought he was still confused, because there was one of the lines where he was confused and he wasn't sure how it worked, but he just accepted it.
I mean, he's working with Mithros, so I assume that he knew
Yeah.
about everything.
He probably told
That's
him.
fair.
Yeah, because remember,
But I
no,
figured that that's
do-
why he hated her so much, because he's like, you're plotting something.
Yeah, I know. I do remember specifically in Karma's storyline. Like, I don't remember exactly the wording, but I do remember that he knew who she was.
Yeah. I turn to stare after him, but he's already turned the corner. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? But how could he know I'm the princess? Is it possible that he is cursed? No, somehow it does not seem right, but even if he does not have the fairy tale curse, could he be the witch that Delora warned me about? What reason would he have for unveiling his identity then, unless he just wants to intimidate me further? It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? Now I'm even more confused about whom I should trust.
Lucette?
I jump when I hear Rod call me. His expression slowly increases with something that looks like worry.
You're pale. Did something happen?
Would he believe me if I told him?
Tell him.
I think we should tell him.
Yes.
Absolutely tell him.
It's 3. Any other inputs?
Go for it.
Okay. Sir Alcaster knows I'm the princess. Do you think he's the witch Delora was talking about? I whisper the words to him, and he responds by raising his eyebrows, looking surprised.
What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he acts, is it?
You don't believe me? Rod sighs.
I never said that I didn't. It's just that we can't blindly accuse anyone without any real proof.
Rod stares at me for a few moments, then closes his eyes. His eyebrows slightly furrow with thought.
Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are.
I do not want to be so suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either, given these circumstances.
Need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you can come talk to me about it.
You're worried about me. Rod averts his gaze from mine.
Of course I am.
No.
Wow, you're actually being honest.
What? Rod glares at Seppi before pinching his cheek.
Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for.
Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decide to follow after him.
Why did you follow me?
I shrug. I wanted to see you practice. To be honest, I want to see him dance. I already know that Emmeline is very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside the one practice with Emmeline, I've never seen Rod dance. Emmeline always gloats on his behalf, but I've yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together was so short I barely had time to judge him.
I do not practice with an audience.
Why?
It's my preference. Rod is easily embarrassed.
Rod groans and pinches one of Seppi's cheeks, glowering.
Sorry.
Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh.
He's not sorry.
No.
I noticed you've been talking more lately, Seppi.
Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels.
Seppi makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks. Rod stares at me with wide eyes and I stare back, beginning to panic. What's wrong?
You smiled again.
He's panicking because she's smiling. Okay.
Yes,
To be fair, we do the same thing when he smiles.
you would too.
I put a hand on my mouth, flushing. I was smiling again? I never even noticed.
It was a pretty smile, princess. Right, Rod?
I just feel like this bunny is just like, I may be speaking for you, but I'm not on your side. Rod quickly turns away.
I have never once been on your side, bitch.
Cheeks slightly pink.
I need to practice now, so I would appreciate you leaving.
You did not even command me to leave. What a surprise. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes.
Why? So you can judge me?
I think the first one?
I mean...
I kind of want to say the second one just because it's like I'm hoping that the tone is a little more playful, but I feel like yeah, I don't know.
Is she trying to flirt with her stepbrother? Is that what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Either
Yeah.
that or she legitimately just wants to see
Mhm.
him dance because, yeah.
I'm gonna vote second answer because I'm more
Yeah,
curious about
the second
that.
answer seems a little flirty.
I don't even
It
mean
seems-
flirty. I think just more playful.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I
spicy.
think it's a little more. Totally. She wants a little bit of that rod.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
I mean, in all fairness, that's the joke I've been making in my head for the last 3 hours.
Oops.
I knew, like,
I'm
since you
sorry,
jumped in here.
stepbrother.
Oh no. Stepbrother, help, I'm still.
Rod, I need your rod to help me.
No!
No.
And then Sebi's like, you know you want to do it?
Guys,
Go
this
out
is
there.
going on
Ooh.
YouTube after.
That'll be okay.
Alright. I lost count.
Boy,
What's the
Well,
majority vote?
hope you didn't want to monetize this shit.
I am a long ways from being monetized right now.
I know.
Then you're
Alright,
Yeah.
so.
No, I'm not
I like
here
the
to judge
second
this one.
answer.
You like the second?
I'm
Okay.
going the first one.
Okay. 2 first, 1 second. Abby and Haka, what were your guys' votes?
I'm a better
nervous.
dancer than you.
Right. Which one were you, Abby?
I think I'm the second one. It's spicy.
Yeah, I mainly think it because of how that compliment went before, where we were like, oh crap, it messed up. And then it actually turned out great.
Charles.
So I totally see that as the same
That's
thing.
very true.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, oh, yeah, that's like me. Okay. I think if I counted right, it was 3 the first one and 2 the second. My brain is slowing down. Alright, Charles! What do you think? I don't even know if he's still here or not.
No, Charles died.
According to this thing, he is not here anymore. Oh, poo.
There you go.
Okay, okay.
See?
Dallin, you said
Charles
the
died.
first one? Or did you say the second one?
I'm thinking second.
Okay, so the majority was this one then. Okay. I'm sure that I'm a better dancer than you. The scowl in Rod's face deepens. I almost smirk. Maybe he's reluctant to show me, but Rod is also full of pride. He's more likely to show me if I pose a challenge.
You didn't even answer the question. And are you underestimating my dancing?
Yeah,
Yeah, we chose the right answer.
come on.
The others may have forgotten, but you still remember, do you not? I am a princess and was taught by the kingdom's best instructor. I say the
Why
words
don't
of
you
pride.
Show me, stepbrother.
Oh no. And I notice Rod's lips twitch in response. It actually makes me feel accomplished to get under Rod's skin when he's usually the one getting under mine.
Having the best instructor does not automatically make you the best dancer. I am pretty confident with my own skills.
Say what you want, but I will refuse to believe you without any proof. I can still say that I'm a better dancer than you are. Rod steps forward and pulls me suddenly into his arms, taking me by surprise. He looks at me, clearly determined.
Fine then. You'll have your proof. I will make you swallow those words with this dance.
We shall see.
Yeah, boy.
Very quickly making him a bard.
Rod starts leading the dance. He guides us into the imaginary rhythm of a waltz. Even without the music, I'm able to count steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from the short dance we showed Emily. Rod's movements are graceful. His touch is gentle as he leads me to an underarm twirl. When I come to face him once again, I realize the gentle way he stares at me, the usual hardness of his expression is gone, melts into something relaxed.
Same.
I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have some gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me.
You have beautiful eyes.
Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine do. He abruptly lets go of my hands and steps back. While I stare at him, my face warm.
Ah, I should have said that in Sebi's voice. Oh, never mind. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear.
Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my. Rod and I turn to look at Emmeline, who is hovering by the door.
Oh my.
And then it gets better.
Oh my. Damn it, TK!
Excuse me.
Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmeline and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Lucette. You were watching? I only saw the last few minutes, but you know, the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. A couple? Oh, you're blushing. Put my hand to my cheek and turn away with a scowl. I am not. Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing.
I wonder how she'll react once she remembers that they're step siblings.
Do you like Rod? I stare at her. I do not. Also, you are forgetting that I'm a maid who could not be with a prince even if I wanted to. He's just grumpy and cold. Even though we were not blood related, he's still my stepbrother. If only Emmeline realized how crazy her words were in light of the truth. Emmeline suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Lucette. Besides, he seems to like you. Shit's getting awkward.
No boundaries.
Would you be saying this if you knew you were step siblings?
Yes, probably.
Take me home.
Oh my.
Please. Oh, no.
ATL.
Oh, no. Oh, it got worse.
Oh no. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. You okay there, darling?
I'm having fun.
Sometimes he says the opposite of
Here,
what
I'll make
he
it even
feels.
better for you.
Please don't.
Oh no.
No, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna just send him a
Alright.
quick text.
It's only when you get to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help but think of Sebi, who also always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they are contradictory. He always was so mean of Iorica when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. But then I realized that he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew he liked her. I thought one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but... Emmeline lets out a small sigh as she directs her attention out the window. His attitude toward her changed when he was cursed, and then grew even more distant when Viorica found a lover. Is that why you've been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them back together? Emmeline nods. The three of us were best friends, the three musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been so stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you don't mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? Emmeline stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend, Lucette, and I know that I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting, but even I think Emmeline is still far too trusting. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I read the story so many times, hoping that I could figure out some way to break his curse. I think back and realize I've actually read the beginning of The Little Mermaid not a long time ago, but I did not have the chance to finish it because I was caught by Mother. The Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does this so she can be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. I heard that curses are derived from the original tales, but they are twisted in some ways to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly, thoughtful. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Viorica, but I cannot draw the connection. Still, Viorica might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through Viorica. Carefully. Okay, so do we want to continue on to chapter 7, or do we want to call it here for the night?
I have to.
To call it here?
I have to.
Like what, 11 for you guys or something?
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
going for 3 hours.
I have work in the morning.
Alright, well then we're gonna stop here at chapter 7 then.
That's fair.
Maybe one day I won't. Maybe one day I won't be working Sundays. Oh well.
Maybe
Alright.
one day.
Willie, do you still have next Saturday off so far? Okay, well, anyone watching, which I think is just literally everyone that's in this Discord call right now, we'll
Thanks,
start this again next Saturday.
Yeah.